we're live. Hey Mason, what?
Hi.
What?
Mason, I think you had an announcement.
Yeah, you got something you want to talk about?
Yes, I do.
We have no
I
webcams,
just
by the way. Oh no, you guys do. Never mind. It just
hold
blocked
on.
out for me. We're good. We're good.
I just wanted to know. Have any of you heard about? I don't know if you've heard, but
Mhm.
it's this neat little game called Final Fantasy 14.
There's
It's
14.
yes, there's
Mm.
actually 15 of them.
Wow.
More than that,
That's
actually.
more than that, yeah.
That's a lot
Yeah,
of games.
there's 15 in the mainline series. Anyways,
Aren't there
have you-
technically 16 because 10 is 2 games?
Don't worry
I mean,
about that.
no,
We don't
it's
talk-
more than that.
We don't talk
14
about
there's-
13 also has 2 games, doesn't it?
13 is
13
3.
has 3. So
Lightning.
there's 13.
We're getting off topic. What
Anyway,
about?
back
Tell
to
me about
Fantasy
14.
14.
So this 14th one,
Yes.
Mason. What about it?
So, did you know it has a free trial? Final Fantasy 14 critically acclaimed MMORPG has a free
Critically
trial.
Free.
Free trial.
Now we gotta pay.
Now, by free, do you mean like free for some people or free for everybody?
No, free for everybody.
It's a
And
big.
in fact-
It's a big game
in
though.
fact,
It's a big game. Is the whole thing
That's a pretty
free?
big game.
kind of. So you have up to and I quote, you have up to level 60 for unlimited playtime, and here's the kicker: it includes base game A Realm Reborn, as well as the first expansion, award-winning expansion Heaven's Word, which
Heaven's
is my
Word.
personal favorite expansion.
Ooh. That is a good expansion. I've heard that is a good expansion after all.
It is a very good expansion. It made me cry several times. Also,
it was critically acclaimed after all.
exactly, it is award-winning. It also now is the perfect time to get into it because there's a new expansion coming out in 2 months.
However, we would have to pay for that expansion.
You would have to pay for that
That is the issue
expansion.
I have.
But at that point,
However,
some cost fault.
Some cost fallacy.
Yeah, some cost
Some-
fallacy. You've already
Some cost
invested so
fallacy.
much time.
I got you.
so I will say though, however,
Mhm.
if you actually wait until Endwalker, the new expansion, comes out, you can buy the entire rest of the game for $40.
Only
Oh,
$40. Well, that sounds like a lot for a game that's
That's
that
a
big
lot.
in an MMO.
It's actually really good.
That actually is a
That's
lot
a
of content.
real-
That doesn't sound like a lot
it's-
of content.
oh my god, dude! Like I have been playing this game for like close to 2 years now, and I'm not even close to done with the content. I've only got two. I've got 2 classes maxed. I just finished the main story quest line like 2 months ago. Let me see. I'm working on one of the relic weapons, which is like the shiny weapons that are also the best ones at the end of each expansion. I'm only
The ones that you have
halfway-
to like get specific items for that you may or may not have been gunning in the wrong area for like 2 months for.
Look, John, we're not going to talk about that.
Whoa. Hold on a second.
Did you guys know we're actually an anime podcast?
Guys,
though?
yeah, I was gonna say, guys, as you know, welcome to Saber Slate, the Saber Slate podcast. It's Summer Group 2. We're
After
Group
Dark.
2. Episode 9. It's episode 9.
Dark now.
Hey, Final Fantasy 14, sponsor us. Yo, we're an anime podcast.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah, you
welcome
guys
to-
have big anime swords and hairs.
Welcome to episode 9. We are about to decide top 3 tonight of what's gonna be what we're gonna be discussing on the final episode for Group 2. Which won't be next week, but it'll be the week after.
True.
probably.
True. In 2 weeks. This
It'll
many.
be great. But yeah, this week we only got 4 shows left. We got Gay Study of Vanitas, How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom, Life Lessons with Uramichi-san, and Sunny Boy. You know, just your typical normal 4 shows that definitely, yeah. But before we do that, I know we are a podcast show. You should know that there's going to be some harsh or strong or aggressive language. It's going to
Some might
make
say
you
bad
feel,
words.
it might make you feel intimidated, but we promise you, as long as you're comfortable, you'll be comfortable. And also, there's gonna be
That's how
spoilers.
that works,
We
John.
are, yeah. There's gonna be spoilers. I don't know if you know this. We are on episodes 11 and 10s of shows. We're gonna be spoiling these shows for you.
And
so,
major plot points that are probably going to lead into the end.
yeah, or maybe. Depends on the show.
Yeah, depends on the show. Realist show definitely has more content.
can
tell you that much.
Before we do that, let's talk a bit. Let's talk.
So Mason,
bit.
besides playing the critically acclaimed Final Fantasy 14, including the Heavenbringer Dawn Sword expansion, what else have you been up to?
Okay, so like weirdly enough, you got like almost all of those words are actually parts of expansion names. So
Oh, I
Not
know.
the right one.
Oh, I
Wait,
know.
None of them were the right one.
Oh, I know.
No,
I did that intentionally. You guys know this, right?
No.
I realize, but
Yeah, sure.
I
I
also
like
have
to
no idea what
think
the
you
actual
just
name is.
don't,
So I keep
exactly.
forgetting. No, I also forget, but like I also like to do that for fun. But Mason, what else have you been doing besides playing critically acclaimed Final Fantasy 14?
Oh, so funny. I haven't played 14 in like 2 weeks, but
Don't you slip
Threw
me.
a pen at me. I'm intimidated.
I didn't
know
realize
what
y'all were
you're talking
that
about.
close.
Yeah, I just opened my door and I closed the door before I
You just
closed. I
yeeted a pen at
pen
me.
at him.
Would you say he's quite pensive?
I think it's a Wilkes pen. Is it a
No.
Wilkes pen? Oh no.
It's just a generic pen.
Mason, you just look at me with disappointment.
I'm sorry, Mason. I had to go close the door. Is there anything else you're playing?
So
More Arise or no?
continuing my my thing, Tales of Arise has still taken over my entire life. I just unlocked fishing, so that's pretty cool.
Yo,
Yes!
the best fishing
Yes!
in every game.
Yes! Let's go,
Okay, so-
JRPGs! Yes! Fishing! Woo!
I'm
I
not
love
generally a fan of fishing minigames,
I love fishing minigames.
but like
Dude, I
this
do.
fishing minigame is actually like somewhat hard, and
Yo.
also it's the main way to get money in this game because
Yo.
holy fuck, this game is expensive with its items, and it does not give you like any gold whatsoever.
Yo.
Like in most Tale games before this one, actually literally everyone that I have played, once you're basically through like the first area, like once you're out
kinda
of the
just throw
starting
gold at you.
town, they throw gold at you because like every monster drops gold. Like you're going to be picking gold up out of chests. You'll get them for turning in quests. Like you have a ton of money, and you will always be topped off on your items pretty much no matter what.
Unless you play Berseria wrong and you sell everything and bump all your items up every single time. If you play Berseria wrong,
yeah, that
you
can
will
get
not
expensive.
have enough money.
That can get expensive.
I know
I
as
did
someone
do
who
that.
played Berseria wrong for a long time.
Okay, so like
But even then, you're generally okay.
I just prefer calling it playing Berseria as bougie, but you know, hey.
look, see, but even then, if you want to, you can go grind for
That's
money.
true. I
It's
just
just
didn't
gonna
want
take a
to.
while.
Yeah.
In Tales of Arise, enemies don't drop money
Oh God.
ever. So you are running off what you find, and that's it. And then, and mind you, you unlock fishing pretty late into the game, like a solid past the
20
halfway
hours.
point. It's more than that. I'm through the third area now. So like I'm going into the fourth, and that's where I found fishing. So
I discovered how to fish. I
yeah.
just like the idea of like, what is this?
Well, legitimately, it makes sense because like all of the other people are like, oh yeah, we're from the lava area, or
The
we're from the
desert.
frozen. What was that?
The desert.
Yeah.
Ice or
Or-
sand variant.
Yes, it's. Are you from the ice variant? Or are you from the lava variant of a vast savanna or tundra? Excuse me.
Depending on your situation,
Desert.
could be either.
So those people don't know how to fish. So you have to wait until you get one of your the last two party members before you can fish because they're the only one who knows how to do it because they're in a green land. But it's very nice because fishing you can sell the fish and then make money off of it. So that's the only way to actually make money consistently in this game. But luckily it's fun to play and like they also make it worthwhile to like continue doing it because it's a lot of like, hey, if you catch this many different varieties of fish, you then unlock better fishing gear and so on and
Fish.
so forth.
Oh,
Do the
fish
JRPG thing.
scaling. Yes.
So it's fun.
Fish.
The last party member that you unlock is one of my favorite Tales characters ever. And I've only known them for like an hour. But they're such a badass that it doesn't matter.
I
but I would
don't.
die.
I've seen the cast. I don't know if this is a cast member I have seen because sometimes Tales games like to surprise you. So I'll be
It's-
interested to figure that out at some point which one it is.
Hope it's the Battle of Mage with
It's
part 2.
also interesting because of how they do the last two cast members. Because they're just like, here, they're in the same area.
It's not Mommy Knight, right? She's like the third one, isn't she?
Mommy Knight. Excuse me?
Oh, Mason knows what I'm talking about, though. Oh,
She's the second to last one.
okay. I just
But
know
they
Mommy
are-
Knight exists.
She's wonderful. She
Look.
also has. She has arguably the most emotional and moving scene in the entire game so far, which is fantastic.
Look,
Um,
you're sitting here and you're laughing, Michael. But if you saw what she looked like, you would not disagree.
Pretty sure
with
I
me.
probably have.
You would not
She's
disagree
Mommy.
with me on my description. She's Mommy Knight.
She is absolutely
Do you-
mom.
Do you
She's
like your
wonderful.
mom and her 2-hit multi?
I did buy the game. I will be playing it at some point.
Oh shit, nice.
I highly recommend it. I will say the cast is very good, and the gameplay is very good.
Skit's always good.
Mm.
I'm still not sold on the plot, if I'm being fully
I was gonna
honest.
say, it sounds like you're missing something in there.
The plot is fine. It's not like Berseria or Vesperia levels or Symphonia levels of good. Actually, I can't even say Berseria because Berseria was like
Berseria is not really a plot. It's more just following characters, and that's the
Berseria
whole
wasn't
part
a
of
plot.
it.
It was a very angry girl.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
But like, it's a really good character study on the villain character,
Berseria's
the not
plot-
very good person.
Hi, anti-heroes are good characters too.
Berseria's plot kind of just overarchs into Zesteria's world, which is kind of
Yeah.
the odd
It-
thing. It gets more of a
it's-
story when you've
yeah.
played both than when you've played
Yeah.
one, and that's not necessarily a good thing, but
no.
Yeah, Berseria's plot is
arguably
the guy. Hey,
especially
look,
'cause
the,
that makes
the
you
good
play-
guys are
means you have to-
actually terrible
hang on.
people.
It's bad because you have to play Zestiria. That's why it's
if
bad.
you do it in the
Okay,
right
so-
order, it's good because it makes you go, "Oh, it's kind of cool" when you play Berseria. But if you've only played Berseria and you're gonna go play Zestiria, you go, "Oh, so that's how this works." And yeah,
Yeah, so like the issue with Zestiria into Berseria is that Zestiria comes like thousands of years after Berseria,
Mhm.
but if you don't play that one first, you are going to be severely disappointed. Because Zestiria is entirely a
Bad game.
fine. It's not a bad game.
Oh, there are
I-
worse Tales games,
I know.
as we've
Leg-
expressed before.
Legendia and Grace's F exist.
Like how we don't even talk about regular Graces, just Graces F. It gets the
Well, yeah,
point.
because no one played Graces. No one played original Graces. But
I only played Berseria ever.
so I'll put it to you this way. Tales of Legendia was like, hey, you know these really cool 3D like action RPG games that we've had? Let's go back to the 2D turn-based system.
Ooh,
And that didn't go well.
Nickies.
And also the plot is boat on another boat, and the fate of the world hinges on incest.
Nice.
Ahem.
I'm not kidding you.
Quick, fuck your
that's my-
sister. We need to
that's-
save the world.
That's my
Legit-
favorite plot point that keeps popping up in things Michael and I enjoy. Michael, what's wrong with this? Why does this keep happening to us?
What is there with this season in Int?
Michael, there's a really good Danganronpa meme, and it applies arguably to every single piece of Danganronpa literature or story that exists, which is great character, great character, wonderful personality, interesting backstory, incest, just slammed in there.
Slap it in
Just-
there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens. It be like that.
That sounds just like the entirety of our emo. Great
Mhm.
story, pretty entertaining, good characters, good entertainment. And by the way, the main love interest is incest. Have fun
You
with
got
that
it.
one.
Yeah, I mean, aside from Tales of Arise, the only other thing I've really done is I watched a little bit more of Iron Blooded Orphans, which is very good.
Raise
It's-
your flag.
I thought the main characters were kind of bad people in Double O, and then I watched IBO, and holy fuck!
I mean, to be fair, in Double O, they are technically terrorists.
I mean, yes, but
Hey, that hasn't
The-
stopped other shows before from making good, likable characters.
okay, but
True.
like IBO doesn't have like Double O doesn't have the main character just like start murdering people in like episode 3 in cold blood.
Listen, no Russian, no Gundam.
Wow.
All right, but that's all I've really been up to. Honestly,
Dodge.
I've just been working a lot.
Hi, that's me.
You started something.
I started and ended
and
a
I was gonna say,
Nuzlocke.
apparently you've also
I
ended
started
it
and ended a
from
Nuzlocke today. I'll probably play some more
Well,
tonight.
you didn't
maybe
start it
after
today.
podcast, but I started
2 days ago? 3?
late today. I don't remember. Either way, I've been playing Renegade Platinum. That game's hard. I died to Mars. I got through the first gym though on the first try, which is it's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
The game's mean though. I'll tell you what. Holy
Mhm.
shit.
Yo, you should play Mogul Platinum.
It's the same game. You know it, right? But Mogul Platinum's slightly easier.
No,
Slightly
yeah,
easier,
it's the same game but easier.
Tech double.
Yeah. That's why I'm not gonna do that.
You could be the
I'm
second
gonna play
person
the
to
harder
beat it.
version. No, Small Ant's already gonna beat it.
But you could do
Okay,
the soonest.
Small Ant's doing the most like unfun way of playing that ever for Nuzlocke. In that, like, whenever he loses a Pokemon, he'll just sit there and shiny grind because Shiny Claws is enabled, and then just like because the shiny odds are like 1 in 500 in this,
That's
and
what
like really
happens
high.
when you give a
like-
challenge to Spallet. He never says he's gonna do it the fun way. He's gonna do it optimally.
He's gonna do it and then complain about it and be like, "This is why I don't like Nuzlocking. They're not fun." It's like, dude, it's not fun because you're not making it the whole point is to make it a challenge. That's why it's fun. It's not to just win. But that is the most Small Ant way to do it. So I'm fine with it. I enjoy his streams, but yeah, I tried playing Renegade Platinum. I died at the Mars fight because I was like, I don't think I should be above, to the next gym level. Maybe I'll do it to like the boss fight level. That was a mistake. I'm putting it to the next gym level next time. Fuck that. That Purugly just swept my entire team with no fucking remorse because it is a Jolly Purugly with max IVs. And that thing was faster than everything I owned and also way meaner than everything I owned. It took my lunch money, it took my happiness, and it took my fucking lovely, beautiful, Butterfree that I had. My compoundized Butterfree that was popping off and just finally saw the light of day. And no longer. Yeah, other than that was pretty fun. I've been reading a lot of Realist Hero, trying desperately not to read ahead because it is so fucking hard because that shit's a really good read. But now I can read as much as I want, which is nice. And I'll update you on some of that later on. I'll talk to Mason about some of it later on too, after we watch the next episode. But it's good. I've had school. Clinicals are hard. I'm very tired on the weekdays, but outside of that, I've been doing all right. And yeah, I think that's about it. I haven't done too much actually. Just been kind of chilling at home, and we'll see how the Nuzlocke goes. Cause I'll probably keep doing that because it's fun, but it's very, very hard.
Okay, Michael, you're next because I'm gonna go last this time.
Oh boy. I mean, other than the usual of me just playing more Destiny 2 and sinking way too many hours into that
Oh, I've
game.
been playing Isaac too. I forgot that. No, go ahead.
Good. But yeah, I mean, I played a lot of Destiny 2. Finally, I think 2 days ago, I did my first run of the final raid that I hadn't done yet in the game. It's a good time. Other than that, I played some Danganronpa V3 this week. Finished off Case 3 that I was halfway through the trial of last time we podcasted.
That trial's fun.
Yeah, that trial's a great time. And I started Case 4 or Chapter 4. I'm up until
We've gotten body.
we found a body. Is it the first body? I don't know. There could be a second death. I haven't seen it yet. But yeah,
you haven't seen the body to confirm it hasn't died.
We've also
we have seen at least one dead body though.
We've also started engaging with the support style that V3 has, where you do the 5 supports and you max out the student's report card like you would do in the other Danganronpa games. And then there's also an additional support scene you can do where you have to use the coins. You have to use the medal system in the game, different from the mono coins. You basically trade mono coins for medals, and then you gamble in the casino. And you can buy this key item that lets you go to a love hotel, and you get a love hotel scene with every character. And some of those are explicit, and some of them are. Michael's only gotten.
I definitely got to like the most explicit and horny ones that you can get.
It's really
because the idea is that you're put into a dreamlike state with the person, where you're living out their fantasy, and you need to try. It's just really fun because the 2 characters I've gotten are just one of them's already a super horny character, and that's like half of their personality is just that they are very horny.
There's some wholesome stuff. There's some wholesome stuff in that one though.
Yeah, there's some really wholesome stuff.
Not by the end of it.
Yeah, the one character's fantasy is
best friend,
a childhood friend, and the other one is incest. It's step sibling incest.
Man, you're really on the incest train this week, aren't we?
Can't escape it.
So like, step sibling's bad, but it's not.
It's not as bad.
Technically
it's still the funniest shit when the first thing she says is brother, and you go, oh no.
Which is also the main character's reaction is wonderful. No, it's really good. Yeah, but we got through that. And then what else have you done, Michael? You played Melee at club. How was that?
That was me playing Melee and going, "Oh God, my hands don't work with this game yet." Because that's a game where if you don't play it a lot, it feels really slow.
Do you play Melee?
If you cannot consistently L cancel, that game is ridiculous. You just stick to the floor.
What is L
Yes.
canceling? You shield
So
into the
it's
ground, right?
If you press a block button within a certain amount of frames upon touching the ground while doing an aerial, it halves its landing lag upon landing.
It sounds painful with a GameCube controller though. Those L buttons do not they're not buttons, they're like fucking forceful pushes.
Yeah,
well, it'll take it with the half trigger.
yeah,
I like ultimate. My character go burr.
yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't get to play any ultimate because I didn't want to butt into any of the 1v1s that were
Oh,
happening.
they stopped doing 1v1s after like
Yeah,
2 games.
yeah, but the issue is that you guys were doing 1v1s, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go do Melee, and then as I start doing that, everyone else all the ultimate setup started doing other things, and I was like, I don't want to just leave this person here.
I'm just saying, man, y'all want to come do some online with me? I'm always down to play some Smash Brothers.
Did you
Not very
Same as
good, but
well.
it's fun.
did you have anything else, Michael?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I've just played a lot of Destiny.
So I've done a couple of things outside of schoolwork, and something newspaper related that I eventually do want to talk about, but I actually can't talk about it yet.
Wait,
I
Sean, we
can't-
played D&D.
we
I
we
think.
did play
We
D
also
and
played
D.
D&D,
I was like,
Nathan.
that was this week. That was Sunday, right?
Yeah, we played D&D last Sunday. That was fun. They're almost out of the starting town they've been in after
Yeah.
what? You'll be going to session
Okay.
4.
Yeah. Okay, Sean, you put us through a bunch of side quests though.
I mean, you arguably didn't have to do all of them, but they're being so I.
What do you mean?
They're a
How would we
group
have
of-
ignored any of these?
They're a party of 4.
We need to do all of the
You
quests.
could just decide you wanted to leave. That's how. Let the
No,
town.
but we're
handle
not
it
bad.
themselves.
But we're not bad people.
Well,
and
you-
Sean, there's
Maybe don't all
there's an important.
play good or
But Sean, there's an important
neutral
love interest for one of our characters that's connected to this town's
characters. Are
guard.
you sure it's
if there's
one
problems,
of
we
your
can't
characters and
leave.
not the entire party? No,
I don't know.
I
No.
I went into this campaign going, okay, there's 4 of them, predominantly spellcasters. They need it. I'll let them recruit like an NPC for me to
need
control
a
in
big body,
combat that
yeah.
they could use. I was like, but I don't inherently want to just be like, hey, there's very clearly like a tank character for you here, take them. So I went, I drafted up a handful of NPCs to the party's level and just went,
Drafted.
and I did, and I just went, there you go find them in the town, and they've gotten a handful of them, and they have so many now that what you're
We've
probably gonna
conscripted a small army.
they're for sure leaving town with at least 3 people, I think. At
Yeah,
minimum.
there's a pretty high.
I
Yeah.
don't think you're doing less than 3 at this point.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have a fighter. Yeah, they're gonna have a fighter. They're gonna have a
Cleric and an
they're gonna-
artificer.
Yeah, artificer.
Artificer.
So that's fun, but we did that.
Artificer.
Also things I've done. I started playing and am at the final boss of A Link to the Past. This has been a journey. I
I beat that boss.
haven't played it before.
I skipped that boss, but
Which is something. It's just because I didn't have the hardware to do it really. I'm playing on my Switch through the online stuff. And my problem is I've been playing it in handheld, which I really should just not do. Because my left Joy-Con, I don't know if it's because it's not technically charged, or if it's Joy-Con drift, or a mixture of both. Occasionally, my left Joy-Con decides it wants to make me go left, and only
that's
left.
drift. That's drift 100%.
And you might not know this, but in a game where you don't have diagonal movement, being told that you are now going left is very bad a lot of times when it happens, especially that game that expects you to do some narrow walking a handful of times. So some of the dungeons were a little rough for me, and some of the dungeon bosses were a little rough for me. Just in general, I will say some of the bosses, particularly Helmasaur King, took me a minute to make sure I was doing the fight right, because there is no indications that you hitting him multiple times with the hammer in the face is doing anything, and it's very frustrating. I've
that
gotten
game has-
everything outside of, like, I haven't paid for, like, my full arrow upgrade, because I don't just want to keep throwing 50 rupees into a pawn forever, until I get to 70. I'm really close. I should just do it so I have 100% completion. I also missed some really easy heart pieces, but I wound up just checking where they were and grabbing them, just because I wasn't going to wander around Light and Dark World for 4 hours until I found them.
So fun fact about Link to the Past, it's the one other game besides Breath of the Wild that I've technically beaten. By beaten, I mean my friend blindfolded showed me how to do the any percent route and clip through the wall and end the game, and I beat it in 4 minutes. So I technically have beaten Link to the Past without playing Link to the Past.
That game's
So,
mean.
Game's very
Sean,
easy. I don't know what you mean. That game was easy. I didn't even die.
so Sean,
Yeah.
when you're finished with that, when are we doing 1v1 Link to the Past randos?
I actually now that I know, I wouldn't have been able to do it before that. Now that I understand about what I need to go where, I could probably do a rando and not suffer.
Yeah.
But beforehand, if you've never touched that game, I couldn't imagine someone being like, let's just rando Link to the Past, because you have to know, like, there are very particular things you need to do certain things in that game.
Yeah.
And even after having just played, there will be a couple of things I know for sure I'll forget.
So I will say I haven't done a rando in like
Mhm.
over a year at this point, but there is a very nice tracker out there
Yeah.
that just tells you the locations of things and tells you if you have the ability to get them.
Yeah, I know it exists because I tuned into a Proton John stream where they were doing the Super Metroid and Link to the Past one
Like
where
the combo
you would
rando.
where you would get certain things in both,
Across the games.
which was wild to watch. And
Yeah,
now I
that's
understand a
true.
lot of what they were talking about and a lot of the sequence breaks some of the Link to the Past players were doing. Yeah, no, but I will eventually beat Ganon. It's really fun to have played A Link Between Worlds and to understand a lot of the things that Between Worlds takes from A Link to the Past, which I always knew was the case. But to play the original, it's nice. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't think it beats out Minish Cap or A Link Between Worlds for me in terms of that style of Zelda game and how much I like it. But
the 2.5D Zelda or whatever.
yeah, but I've been enjoying it. I played some Yu-Gi-Oh. Which my friend group here on
Yu-Gi-Oh game.
campus has decided that we don't like we don't like the current format, but we also don't want to play any old format, so we're just basically going, please don't put hand traps in your deck and please don't play floodgates and boring combo. Just play fun stuff. And like if you're playing like Mecha
Don't
Fan on
be a
Beasts, like take O-Lion, sure. Like we don't care. Go ahead. Like if there's a card that's been banned because of a combo and it can be used in your deck and isn't going to be generate, just take it. Just have it. Have a good time.
So, go ahead and finish, but I have something to say afterwards.
I was gonna say none of my decks are anywhere remotely competitive, and my best deck was only competitive because it was Rogue, and I very much like Yosenju, but I was playing Yosenju in a stall variant, and basically what that meant is that I was making use of a Quiet Life, which is a wonderful spell card that I don't see like anyone use, and I think it's just because there's not a lot of decks that can make use of it very well. But Quiet Life basically says that if you normal summon, you can't special, and if you special, you can't normal. And Yosenju's does not give a fuck about that if you're not playing a pendulum variant, because you just go normal summon, normal summon, normal summon, normal summon, because Yosenju's are fun. And that just means that your opponent either has to commit to a normal summon or has to commit to a special, and they don't get both. And that very much shuts down enough of your opponent that any other of Yosenju's floodgates or traps can just deal with. It's not a problem. It's not fun for the opponent player, but also rogue anti-meta is never fun, just like how meta's never really fun, except in very few formats.
That card is really good because a lot of the current decks nowadays are synchro summon decks or like pendulum summon decks or link summon, I should say. And both of those fall under special summon.
And they both usually like to like your fallback play if you get negated or something is like a good normal summon that kind of puts you back on track or an extra special. So getting rid of one of those, you close the door for it, which is why a Quiet Light's kind of nutty. And your Senjus don't stick on the field; they come back to your hand at the end phase. So stuff like Dark Hole, stuff like Torrential are all really good. Just because like you're never losing anything in those trade-offs. But we played doubles, which isn't an easy thing to do because double rule and Yu-Gi-Ohs don't really exist in a good way necessarily. So we just kind of bullshitted it. So both sides had 8,000 life each player, and we just kind of did it kind of like if you were playing Two-Headed Giant, where like if just one player was knocked out, that player's knocked out. So we this will tell you the style of format we were playing. I was on Ninja, which both my teammate made me go first, which was a mistake. And he was playing Red Eyes, and then our opponents were playing Dream Mirror and Blue Eyes. And when I say they're playing Blue Eyes, I mean they were playing Blue Eyes with cards they could make the deck out of, so not actually full functioning Blue Eyes.
Okay.
Him,
There was-
Michael. He said a word I understood. He said blue eyes. I know that
He
one.
did it. He
All
said,
you-
and I
all
know
you
that one,
need
and
to
I know
know-
about Red Eyes.
All you
Oh, I
know
know about
about
Red Eyes.
these
Yep, yep,
games,
yep, yep,
all you
yep.
know about these games was my favorite, which was my turn 2 play, where I went, where I went special summon level 7 ninja from hand, Monster Reborn, and my buddy Rafik, who's playing Blue Eyes, goes, "Oh, you could take like a bunch of stuff with that. And, like anything from my graveyard, since I'm playing Blue Eyes, would probably be good." And I go, "Yeah, but what if I take a Red Eyes from my partner's grave?" And he goes, "Why are you?" And I overlay into Big Eye, and I detach for Big Eye, which lets me take an opponent's monster. And he goes, "Oh, you're just gonna take my Exceeds?" And I go, "No. I'm gonna take your Blue Eyes because I don't know what you have that could possibly beat over your 3K beater, especially if it's his only copy of Blue Eyes." And he goes, "You shouldn't do that to me." And then every turn after that proceeded with me going, "I think I'm gonna attack you with Blue Eyes White Dragon." And he goes, "But what if you didn't?" And that was it. It
you
was
not?
nice, like games not over in 1 or 2 turns. So that was fun.
That sounds like the
Um,
meme where it's like, I made this. This is mine. And then you went, I made this. This is mine. Attack him.
So what I was going to say, now I have two things because you started on Yu-Gi-Oh, but if you don't like the current meta and you don't want to play an old format, I recommend playing GOAT format
Yeah, I know.
because GOAT format is just, hey, here's the best era of Magic. It has its own ban list, and it's based around the GOAT control meta,
Yeah.
which was really funny.
Oh, I thought it was your face around Tom Brady.
Um, Goat Control was all about the
He's being
scapegoat,
Yeah.
and how that card is stupid.
My card's still stupid. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
It's literally just a link climb enabler. I'm impressed more. I guess most decks just don't need it. Is the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is
Anymore.
like because there's just been enough busted shit printed that it doesn't matter. The other thing was I actually did play a little bit of Duel Links this week,
Oh man.
and every time I play that game, I'm just like, man, this game's really fun. Why do I stop playing it? And then I'm like, yeah, that's right. It's because it's just a pay to win game, and my free to play deck is good, and we'll get through to like just below King of Games. But once I get into King of Games stuff,
Yeah.
it is not gonna go well because I play it's an Arrow Mages deck. So
Yeah.
the whole point of it is
Life.
I gain life. It does a thing. I gain more life. It does a thing. I pay life to go get a thing that gains me life. Okay, we're cool. I'm going to murder you now with I think the highest I've gotten it was a 5,600 attack monster. Also, if that doesn't go through, I also have synchro summons that will just make it so it will go through no matter what. And also, I can attack again. And also, I can remove your field. And also, I can make your monsters have 0 attack and switch them from defense position to attack position. So I will just kill you anyways. Good
Yeah.
games.
So the last thing I
You're
have
a
to talk
bully.
about is the reason why we're podcasting so late tonight. So after my newspaper work, which I'm still technically not done with, but I'm done for the day. I finished at like 5:30. 6 o'clock, I went out for dinner with some friends. And then we went to go to a local theater to watch a musical, a a parody musical, an original script called Tall Green Plumber, and you might be able to have an inkling of what this musical is about. And I will say,
Oh no.
what I thought would not be
Oh,
longer than
yes.
2 hours was about 3 hours, which honestly makes sense for a musical. I just didn't think they would have this much content to throw at us. It felt like I was watching a Machinima skit. It really,
Mamma mia.
like it felt like I was watching something from Machinima, or like I can't think of what the channel is, but there was a channel that went around for a long
Smosh.
time that it wasn't Smosh, but did a lot of like video game parody musicals. And like it felt like those. So
I'm pretty sure you're talking about Smosh. I don't know what
no,
you
it's
mean.
not Smosh. It's not Smosh I'm thinking of. Because it was a very particular channel, that did a lot of those. But it was decently good. It has some problems that all Mario parodies are gonna have, where like it does take some of the low hanging fruit jokes, and it also falls into the problem of you know, it can only do so much with the damsel in distress trope to try to like get around it, but it's always going to be chained to it if they're not inherently breaking it right off the bat, and they weren't. So like you do have to go through like the Bowser kidnaps Peach. The best part about it, however, is that to avoid copyright and getting murdered by Nintendo even on a small local scale, they changed some stuff around. So Mario and Luigi become Alfredo and Linguini.
God
Toad
fucking damn it.
Toad becomes Frog. Peach becomes
Hello.
Pear, and Daisy becomes Lily. Bowser become I don't remember what Bowser's is.
No, they should have been other flower names. Should have been like Carnation and fucking Rose or something.
Yoshi just becomes Broshi, which is and I should know that this is also meant for a mature audience, so there's a lot of drinking.
Mario.
There's a lot of drinking, a lot of sex jokes. It does play the Mario's kind of like an asshole deadbeat who doesn't really care about anybody bit, but then it also does like a nightmare like a Christmas Carol like self-reflection scene as he's in a jail cell, and they also just kill him. They just kill Mario by the end of the show. This was wholeheartedly
Alert, alert.
If they don't kill Mario and then do then it was a terrible show.
I have to. There are a couple of really neat things. The Hammer Bros are played by female actors, but are still referred to as bros.
Would that make them the Hammer Hose?
Which is wonderful. Mario does just kind of get his ass kicked for being like out of shape and like high and drunk. And like they don't necessarily they stick to most of the character types pretty well. Bowser's kind of like a doofus who kind of is enjoyable and not the worst person, which is kind of what the new Mario stuff's been doing with him. Luigi has kind of that shy energy. Daisy's that outspoken tomboy. Donkey Kong, for some reason, is a press secretary, which is kind of funny, and they refer to him as Don E. Konga, which got more of a laugh out of me than it needed to.
You can't be mad about that. That's just clever.
And after the intermission break, the set piece is a bar where it's just a bunch of Smash characters hanging out with the Hammer Bros. So there's a Ness, there's a Jigglypuff, there's like a Charizard, there's a Link, there's a Fox McCloud in there. There was a Wii Fit Trainer, which took the longest to figure out who that person was because they were just wearing normal people clothing. I was like, oh, it's actually like a tank top and like yoga pants, so it's meant to be Wii Fit. Got it. There's some interesting stuff, and that's where they get the gun from for the end of the show, which is how they stand up against Bowser. They do a really neat thing in the climax where they do a bit where Mario and Luigi are about to fight Bowser, and they slow down the fireball scene, so they kind of like colorate this the stage, and they have this ballet dancer come in with a ball and just kind of dance around with it and bring it towards the Mario Brothers. And then Luigi dies, and then they do a pause, and they do asides in this musical by doing pausing. So the characters say pause, and everyone freezes, and they do the pause sound effect, and then they do like soliloquies and asides. So Mario does a pause, and then Mario does the like Smash Bros. team livestock trade, where they bring out two signs that has Mario 1, Luigi 0, and they drop Mario's life to 0 and Luigi's to 1, and then Luigi gets a soliloquy where he's like, "How dare you fucking do this to me, you asshole." It's enjoyable to some degree. There's definitely some stuff that's there's some stuff that's like an eye roll. You're like, yeah. Toad, for some odd reason, is entirely a fourth wall break character, and for those of you, well, yeah, Frog. And there's a bit where they call Frog Toad, and he's like, "You can't do that. You're gonna get us sued. Do it one more time, and we're done for." But if you know wrestling, the actor who played him and the way they had him kind of act on stage was just like the man was fucking Nunzio from WWE. That was all it felt like, was I was watching Nunzio on stage. They didn't like go super hard on like bad Italian accents, so like it was generally pretty tolerable. And for some odd reason, the actor who was playing my boy Linguini was really good. Like his performances in the songs were all really, really solid. Yeah, it was an experience for sure. Okay. We didn't hate it for sure, but it was like I would probably give it like a high 6, low 7. Like there wasn't anything bad about it. I don't know if I'd go and watch it again. The references were really good. Like if you know anything about video games and anything about Mario, like you're like, oh, that's neat, that's cool. Like that's a Mario Bros. 3 reference. Like they pulled
Were you guys
some.
Mario or Luigi people?
I mean,
I am a Waluigi person. Thank you
Okay,
very
but like
much.
you only get 2 options of
I
character
see you
selection, Mason.
choose Chaos.
Correct.
Yeah, no,
You're part of the-
I liked it a lot. There were a couple of like, there were some odd references that I'm surprised they threw in, but overall, it was good. I liked it. And with that, it's anime time, boys. Mason,
Oh, yeah.
we're starting off strong. Episode
Yes,
11,
we are.
Vanitas.
Oh boy.
Now, are we not
Vanitas?
gonna start with power rankings?
I guess I can.
I guess.
I mean, we can talk about the shows and then show power rankings.
You guys know what we can talk about?
You don't need.
We can talk about the Mets, baby. It's the Mets.
It's
You
the
already
Mets,
know it's the Mets.
baby.
1986
It's the
can't
Mets,
happen twice in a
baby.
row. Here we go. Let's go Mets. Here we go.
Let's go
1996
Mets.
won't happen
Let's
again.
go Mets. Mets #1. That's the power ranking on.
I'll never forget the most important thing, Yuke. It's the Mets, baby.
I'll never forget the most important thing.
Spider-Man.
It's the Mets.
So
It's
Fab,
Spider-
here
Spider-Man.
you're
It's
correct,
not always
Michael.
about the money.
You
It's about the
caught
Mets.
me forgetting. Here are the power rankings.
It just says the Mets on my screen. I don't know what you're looking at, guys.
Okay,
Baby.
so it's Sean and me versus Michael and John.
Mason and I share the brain cell.
Okay, can we just talk about the
Right.
fact that like all of us have the same top 2 though?
I mean,
I mean,
you, Mason and I, and you and Michael have the exact same lists.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we have basically the same list across us. The only differences are 1 and 2s.
I mean, was this a surprise?
Honestly, I think the biggest surprise this week was Realist Hero, but we'll get into that later.
I honestly thought I was gonna be the only one with Sunny Boy at #1.
It was close. It was really close.
Let's talk about Vanitas first, though.
Yeah. So this episode was super cute. It was just wholesome for 95% of the episode. And then it wasn't. But this whole episode was about Jean going on a date with Vanitas because of that one line that we got. I think it was last week. No, it was
It was a couple weeks
now.
ago.
2 or
It was a
3.
few weeks ago now, where Vanitas said, when Vanitas is talking to Noe and Domi, and they're like, well, why do you like John so much? And he's like, well, this, and this reason, and also because I could never like a woman who actually liked me. And so John went, aha, that's how I get him to hate me. I'll just act like I'm in love with him. And then Vanitas is just actually a decent person this episode, and John went, wait, hold on. Let me rethink this situation.
Shut them up.
Wait, why is this working? Why am I liking him? What the fuck? We got a lot of very good, very just wonderful pictures from this episode. We got to see Domi in a non-doming sense. It was adorable. We got to
Detective
shoot
Domi.
Detective
on the
Domi
case.
with Ace sidekick Dante.
Raleigh.
This episode was just great because it was Jean trying her best to make Vanitas hate her, and Vanitas knowing the whole goddamn time that was exactly what she was trying to do, and then seeing as the day went on, seeing her go, wait, no, fuck, no, I do actually like him. Shit, what do I do? Also, the other thing that wasn't as wholesome was Ruthven and Noah are having lunch together. And if you remember last episode, we realized that Ruthven is with Charlatan Parade. And so Ruthven is talking to Noe over lunch and is like, so, how do you feel about humans? Specifically, are you with them? Or are you with the vampires? Or are you with the enemy? And Noe goes, look, man, I'm not on either side. I think both sides are perfectly fine. We don't have to fucking kill each other. And Ruthven goes, no, that was the wrong answer. And starts draining his blood. Like, just straight up, like, necking him. And now it's a toss-up on if Noe's living or not.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, in the
At the
Lair
Legion
of
of
Evil.
Doom.
I
Thank
do, just also meanwhile, I mean, I think this is also an important part of this episode because it's kind of the whole reason we get the date set up is that we learned that Jean can't talk about whether or not she's a curse bearer because most
Yeah.
likely it's Ruthven's fault here.
Yeah.
It's a silhouette of Ruthven. It's very
Well,
obvious
yes,
it's Ruthven.
but
Yeah.
But she
So,
can't. We don't know that. She couldn't
can't say.
So the
It's
whole
a
thing, yeah.
it's a really good scene where Venice is like, if you're a curse bearer, you know, I could maybe do something about that. But I would have to know. Could you tell me it? And she just nothing comes. Like she just literally
she tries
can't.
to. She
She, like, gets
says,
choked
she
out.
says, I am, and then she can't say anything anymore. And then Vanitas goes, is someone forcing you to not be able to say it? And then we get this shot of her like having a quick like inner
Connection.
like weird mind fuck for a second where we see a silhouette of totally not Ruthven, followed by him being, Vanitas.
Yeah, we get some nice loving in the vampire sense. And then also, I don't remember if it's before or after that Vanitas. I think it might be after where Vanitas hits her with the I want you to know, by the way, curse bearer or not, if you ever get to that point where you're not you, because she mentioned she's worried about hurting small boy.
Luca.
Yeah, Luca. And Vanitas is like, if you ever get to that point, don't worry, I'll kill you.
I'll do it for you.
But it's in like a super wholesome, like good way of saying,
Like
"Don't worry, I
Yeah.
will kill you."
Way.
Yeah,
I think it's more of a
it's hard
super
to
sexual way.
It's hard to explain exactly how he does it in a way that isn't like super aggressive and like
wouldn't-
mean. He's like, "Don't worry, I will kill you."
I wouldn't say it's an aggressive way or really a sexual way. I do think it's meant because in that moment John's crying, so I do
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
it's
it's a very like wholesome, comforting "I will kill you," which is a
For sure,
super
for sure.
funny thing to say about
Yeah.
the words "I will kill you."
Also, Vanitas has such weird energy when it comes to this scene because before the whole "I'll kill you" bit, she pushes him down and says, "Look, Vanitas, I've followed your directions. I've only drank your blood." And he looks up at her and goes, "Well, then I must reward you." And then she starts sipping his blood. And it's just some weird like switch energy right there. And like I don't know what to make of it.
I'm in.
Because it's like, I mean, I'm in too.
I respect the hustle.
I will play devil's advocate for this episode. I really, anytime before the final cut to Noe and Ruthven, because there's like 3 or 4 times it cuts to them.
Mhm.
Any of them that wasn't the final one in like the second half, which is him posing the question, I really could have cared less about. I could not have cared less. Literally, anytime it cuts to that, I was like, "Can we just like get back to the good wholesome date scene? Can we just get back to that now?"
Can we just
Yeah.
watch 30 minutes of Jean eating food?
And like here's the odd thing. In another show, this might have felt like a bad mood, knowing that Vanitas is approaching the end of its first half, before it splits into its second. This feels fine. This feels great, in my opinion,
Yeah.
to have this moment with these characters where you have potentially with the fact that we don't know how out of commission Nori is gonna be for this next episode, to have a very like intimate moment with Vanitas and Joan to potentially set up something, I think it's really good. And long term, this feels like a great episode to me. It's
Yeah,
definitely a little
this is-
silly, but we're also coming off of the heels of some very tense stuff in this show.
It was a very nice palate cleanser that still gave us character development and also led us into our next plot point.
It's hard to have. It's weird to have it at episode 11. Be like, yeah, episode 11 is my palate cleanser episode.
Yeah,
But I think it works for Vanitas, in my opinion.
I think it
agree.
works because of how good the palate cleanser was too.
I mean, yes.
Like,
Yeah.
like this is just good action. Like I loved every bit of this. Like Jean is adorable.
John's
I ship
adorable.
this. I
She's
ship
so
this.
cute.
It's my favorite ship. I can watch Jean eat things for like hours. It reminds me of Fate when Fate has like the like rom-com like aspects of it where you just see Saber like doing cute like normal girl things. You're like, this bitch has a sword that could slice half the universe in half, and meanwhile she's just eating this crepe and I'm in love. Like it's so adorable. And if it's so like it's so perfect with Vanitas as a character too, where he's just sitting there just like fucking with her the entire time, but also having the goddamn time of his life with it. because he
Also,
knows.
also just there was a small thing with the Noi and Ruthven scene before they get to the Ruthven starts murdering him, which was Ruthven's like, how much do you know about Vanitas? And at this point, Noi can actually give him information. He has learned some things about Vanitas since the last time they talked. And Noi goes, not really anything, no, which is telling that he's not willing to say anything yet because he doesn't know everything he needs to about Vanitas for it to like be worth telling someone, for one, or two, that he just doesn't feel the need to say anything about Vanitas that might shape someone's light of him.
There was also there was that small scene with Luca as well when the whole Ruthven thing was going on. We get a small cut to Luca where it's him like, oh no, I'm thinking wrong. I misread that originally. Um Sorry, I was thinking of when they cut to Vanitas and John in the room at the very end. For some
Mhm.
reason I thought that was Luca. But I was very wrong on that.
Yeah.
Sorry. My bad.
You're good. Show good. Watch the show. It's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
for
Yeah,
show.
It's
very
really
good.
weird because it's like I don't know if I'd recommend this show because man, is it horny at times? But like also like it's also really good at what it does.
I know the exact people I would recommend this show to. Is the thing I
I feel
can
like
say.
Dylan would love this show.
Maybe. He's a weird case where certain
kinda-
things for him are like, no, I don't know.
He would love all the action of this show, but he would love none of the fucking like sexual tension going
Episode
on.
3
Yeah.
would be like such an odd episode for
Yeah.
him.
What was
He'd
episode
be-
Like-
3?
Because that's where
That-
they do the fight scene with Joan, and then we have the scene.
Oh,
when he
Oh,
pins, when he pins her
right.
against the wall.
That's where the real
Where it
spicy
crosses
happens.
the line. That's where there's a clear divide between people like me who are like, okay,
But
like,
I think that
let's get
episode
it, and
4
everyone else
is
who
the-
goes, ooh.
But all
that's
we
a
But I
have
think
to-
little
episode
rapey.
4 is the banquet where they do it again.
No, it's
Yeah.
I think it's 5.
No, it's 5.
5.
They give it a
All I
break
know-
because episode.
Because episode 4 they get dragged into the realm at the end.
Oh, you know
and then
what?
episode 5
Maybe
they're
you're
there.
right. They
No.
might close episode.
No,
3
because-
episode 4
yeah, you're right.
on the
Yeah, no, yeah, because three has that, and then it ends with them.
Vanitas jumping through the portal,
Yeah, Vanitas grabbing onto Noe's arm as they're going through the portal
and
together.
that whole episode's the dance episode.
I don't know if the blood
so
thing happens there. No, maybe. No,
The-
because
I
the
don't
Domi
know.
stuff at the start.
the kiss scene with the dress might be the end of episode 4. He might be right on that.
I
But
think
either,
you're
either
right,
way,
actually.
all we'd have to do is get Dylan to get the dummy, and he'd be locked in probably.
Yeah, see,
True.
the issues get because 3 and 4 were a real hard time for me with this show because it was a real horny, and I was not a big fan.
I was fucking full
Vampire.
send. I was full fucking send. I'm not a vampire guy, but man, was I full fucking send on that shit. That was entertaining as hell.
So I was going to say I feel like Jackman would like it, and then I realized Jackman doesn't like good shows. So
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah. See,
facts,
Jackman would
facts.
like Battle Game.
Jackman
Yeah,
hated this more than Mia,
and Peach
probably.
Boy.
Jackman should be on Group 1.
Dude,
He fit
Jackman-
right in with that group, other than the
other
child
than-
porn.
Other than
Sorry,
child porn.
I'm
I mean,
up- I'm
we
up-
haven't tried child porn, so we don't know.
Sorry, I'm upset because we
I'm
mentioned.
kidding.
I'm upset
Jackman,
because
if
we
you ever see
mentioned.
this, I love you.
We
You're great.
mentioned Peach
I
Boy,
miss you.
so now my mood just sunk 3 miles. Can we talk about something
I'm
else?
sorry.
I mean, I think we've talked all we will about Vanitas. Good show.
It's really good.
Good
Would
episode.
recommend. Good episode.
Let's
minus
talk
like
about-
maybe
minus like that 1 minute that was kind of whatever.
Let's talk
It's
about.
good episode.
Let's talk about this episode. Also, Mason, realist.
I got half of it. Okay. So this was also a really good episode. The only reason why it's not number 2 is because of the very end of Sunny Boy for this week. For me at least. So this episode is all about ending the Civil War. So Soma just gets into the city with Castor. Uses the blueprints that they had and found all the secret passageways and stuff. There's a kind of mid-fight scene, to be honest, between Castor
It's
and
not
Aisha.
great. Yeah.
It wasn't great.
It's
It wasn't great.
pretty mid.
It
It-
read really good.
Mid
The fight-
is
I'll
not
tell you
the
what,
word I would use for
And
it.
the
think it
scene
was
where
bad.
where Lisha jumps out of the mascot is not great
Yeah.
at all.
It looks like you're like fucking like Power Rangers cutscene.
Yeah, it was bad. It was
But
pretty
On
bad.
the
read
bright
really
side,
good.
the
It
rest
read
of the
really good.
episode.
But
Pretty
anyways,
good.
but the rest of this, so we found out how they're doing the whole capture thing. So they have slave collars that if they ever have the intent to hurt the master of the slave collar, it will slowly but surely squeeze down onto their neck until it decapitates them, which is fucked.
A little aggressive,
Um,
but hey,
a little bit.
it's effective.
Then we get a fucking amazing bit of this episode, which is like the last half, where they send
A
Soma.
lot of words.
So since Soma takes over the Air Force, they immediately fly to the Carmine front, and they drop a few bombs onto the castle. And Carmine goes, "We never evacuated the citizens, huh? Yeah. Well, guess we lost." And the nobles go, "You fucking what? Just use them as shields. That's what they're there for." And Carmine goes, "Excuse me, what?" And the nobles are like, "Yeah, no, like just use them as human shields. Like we're more important than them." And Carmine goes, "Haha, you traitors! I got you." And then we learn that the nobles who had had their property seized when Soma became king, uh, when they left, they still had a lot of money that they had embezzled from the state, and so they moved into Carmine's domain. And Carmine was like, "I fucking hate these people. I want to get rid of them. And I want to get the government not corrupt anymore." So he hatched a secret plan that he told Soma about, where they
Wow.
would, oh, kind of told Soma about. It was a weird thing, where
Okay.
the nobles had hired mercenaries from a neighboring country called Zem with the money that they embezzled from the state. So the plan was to get them to Carmine's domain. Carmine would start the war, and then when Carmine was finally captured, the nobles would be captured as well as the mercenaries that the nobles hired. And then they would use those mercenaries from the other country and collect a ransom from the other country, which would end up equating to all the money that the nobles stole from the original from Elfrieden. God, that was a lot of words. But essentially, nobles bad. Time to get them out.
I have
This
thoughts
man
on
started a
this.
civil war to
I-
get nobles out.
I have
I think it was
thoughts-
really
or-
clever.
I have
It was
thoughts on
really
this
well
part of the
done.
episode, but I want to let you finish talking about the end half as well before I.
There was a
dive
lot
in.
of words.
I'll go
so-
last, by the way, in this conversation because I read all this shit.
Yeah, so this was what that one bit that we got at the end of like episode 4, where
Yeah.
Hal's dad was like, "Hey, I gotta tell you something, Soma. This is what it was all about, was Carmine's secret plan," which makes sense now why they couldn't fucking tell us why it was just kind of hanging around there for like 6 or 7 episodes. But now, since Soma has the entire military, he's like, "All right, well, time to go fight the actual war with Amadonia, who's currently trying to take land back from us." So Soma goes, "Hey, fuckers, you're fucking around in some dinky ass city that we got. I'm gonna go take your capital now because I have the entire military force of my country right here, right now." And Amadonia goes, "Shit, go back, go back, go back, go back." And as they're going back, they're on horses. They don't have an air force, so they're trying to go through this mountain pass. And since they're going like double time, they get there at night. And some of the forces are already there and wipe out literally half of the force that they have currently. And then continuing there, they pick up like 10,000 more soldiers, and by the time they get to the capital city of Amadonia, uh, all of the army is sieging it, and they're just there. So yeah, it was a lot of Soma's big brain, like all of this episode.
Carmine's big brain too.
Carmine is big brain too.
I like the end of this episode. I enjoyed the beginning of this episode. I don't hate the parts with Carmine. I just think that I don't know. I feel like with what we know about him, I feel like his portray's not good for us. Like, I don't think you need to like I think you can let us in a little and like let us see like not that he's
Mhm.
playing them, but let us see that he's not a total douchebag because we kind of get that vibe from the beginning of the show, and then he does just hard 180 into an unlikable character until this
Yeah.
last moment. And I wish like I kind of wish they let him do like a little like he could let the cat out of the bag in front of those nobles right then and there. Like but instead they kind of don't let him do that, and we have to wait for him to be a likable character when he's opening the line, which is like
Yeah.
unfortunate.
And they
and
let
it's
Soma kind of explain it
yeah,
afterwards.
it's not even like I hate, like, the show could do what a lot of shows do, which is let them
It-
split explain it. So like
I
let
think the
him
ish-
catch the nobles and tell them that they're fucked, that he's got them, that this was like I
Tell them that they're getting arrested. Don't just like do it like, okay, like do the thing. Like it'd be like, okay, arrest them like we planned.
in the moment you're just like, oh cool, he's just putting these collars on these guys because he's making sure they all forfeit like he should, so he's still sticking to like honor like we understand his character would. And then you get the Soma reveal and you're like, oh shit, no, that was a bigger move. Why doesn't he just flaunt it a
Oh
little
no,
more?
this is his actual plan the whole time, and that explains why he actually turned on Soma
the
and why
really
the big general who we all know and care about and is Lucia's second father isn't
Yeah.
actually just an asshole.
And like I just think it, like, I don't think it's bad for the show. I just think it's bad for Carmine, which like feels bad for that character that I don't think
Yeah.
kind of deserved it to be handled that way. But I also do really enjoy the scene where he's talking with his advisor, and he's like, and his advisor
Beowulf.
informs him, and Beowulf informs him that Soma's just gonna keep. He's already left. He's gonna keep marching, and Carmine just goes, "Oh shit." I didn't think he would do, like, Carmine is surprised
he's got other
gonna
plans.
go fight the Civil War, which is really neat. Like it
Yeah.
elevates
actual War of Macedonia,
Soma in
yeah.
a really nice way, because sure, Soma kind of got like big brained by Carmine, who had this scheme set up, and he's impressed by it. But then Soma's like, cool, I'm just gonna keep doing my thing then, Carmine, goodbye. And Carmine's like, oh shit, this kid's pretty good. Which is a nice,
Yeah.
like, that's the kind of Carmine I like to see, and I just think it's unfortunate we don't really get that for the portion of the episode. I also do really enjoy I guess calling it a carriage ride isn't appropriate because they're in the sky.
It's a gondola.
It's
a
the
gondola.
gondola
Yeah.
ride, where Lycia's like,
Lucia's
hey,
trying to sell him on.
hey, she's a good girl, she's a strong fighter, she's pretty
She's
hot.
got bigger titties than me.
Under
I'm
the-
just
under
pretty
the
hot.
armor, she got some
I'm
titties.
just saying,
She's
the armor doesn't
packing.
do it justice. And
And
someone's
everyone's
like,
kind of like looking awkwardly, like, "What are you
and someone's
doing?"
just
Yeah.
like, you don't need to do this. You understand that, right? Like, nothing you say here is gonna change anything, because we have to do this in like a very particular way, and like you don't need to sell me on her, and I don't even know if she wants you to sell me on her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like,
and she
Lucia,
even-
I know this is your best friend, but I have to abide by the law regardless.
Well, and also Carla even says during that scene, she's just like, look, I signed up for the Air Force in the intent of, if it hits the fan, I will give my life for this country.
Yeah.
This falls under that.
Mhm.
It's most likely that most of them are going to get, I think, just pardoned in the long run. Probably like, I mean, it's very possible the dukedoms get stripped and someone else takes over for them, or they reintegrate the system in some way afterwards. But I can't imagine they're going to execute Castor or Carmine.
I could see them executing Carmine, because Carmine was the head honcho of this whole plan. What I also could see them doing is like having it where they have to pay a debt to society, and their whole debt is being like cabinet members, where
Mhm.
it's like Secretary of Army and Secretary of Air Force.
Yeah.
I
mean,
could see that
I
happening.
could also see them doing the more traditional style of Carmine's a prisoner. And he
Yeah.
stays in, because Carmine really does feel like he could play the Iroh character, where he just sits in a jail cell and talks to people about what's going on and makes you feel smarter, because now you
Mhm.
understand his point of view from things. So that's totally possible. But and Castor's totally replaceable at this point. I like him, but Carla can totally just take over for him.
But she
Um,
can't.
uh,
She can't. The issue is she sided with Castor, so she's just as guilty
I
of
meant
this as he is.
I meant she could
unfortunately.
take over for Castor if I said Carmine.
You said
Okay.
Carla. I'm saying Carla is also got to be prosecuted under the
But
law because she's there.
I think she can be pardoned a lot easier than Castor
But she was
can.
just she
Maybe.
was following orders.
Maybe I won't say much
Okay, but we
because
settled that in Nuremberg.
I won't say much because I might or might not have read slightly further than this episode. However,
Gosh.
I'm not going to spoil anything. I just saying that I really like this episode. I think I agree. I don't like how they did Carmine. I think how they writ it was better, if that makes sense, because they did a little bit more like direct explanation of like in the moment explain of how he handled the nobles
Mhm.
basically and rounding them up. But I think like overall like the structure was very faithful to like reading these the light novel, because originally this entire show was actually it's light novel format original, but actually it was originally a web
Yeah.
writing. Like it was like basically like a blog writing almost of a story that then got adopted into light novel, that then got adopted into manga and eventually anime, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to see like this out of nowhere, right? Because it's like the show kind of really pulls the 180 on Carmine, which I don't know if I like or I hate, because it's like, okay, here's this guy that we know is a good person to everybody except for the new king for some reason, and we don't know why. And then we have that like looming like, here's this big news that we're not going to know about for 10 episodes, and I don't think that works very well for this format. I think it's good for like the twist and all, but
Mhm.
I think it does kind of fall flat with how they like just say Carmine is a great man, excellent general, but he doesn't
I
like you, so he's actually a bad guy. Wait, just kidding, he's actually a genius.
I also
But
kind of wish the show gave us a scene where someone was like the implication that someone was about to tell Alicia about it. Like some kind of hint, because I feel like that amplifies the scene where she cuts her hair so much more, because we know he tells her before that. And if you know that he's going to tell her something important, and then she does that in front of the Dukes, you understand
did
there's
she
some
know?
relevance. She says
Yeah,
she
she
knows.
did.
He
Okay,
says she
okay, yeah.
finds out
In this
before
scene,
that
they clear the
happens.
room, but I think in the light novel they specify there's like so many people that are actually in that room still. I forget which ones because it's way at like the beginning of like it's in volume 1, and this like is taking place like
Yeah.
I think like the order of the volumes was like volume 1, just by where I'm like page numbers and wise. Volume 1 was like way in that part. Volume 2 was like this entire self-contained war, and
Yeah.
it doesn't look like they're gonna get to post-war
But
until after like volume 3.
But
But
in the show, it specifically someone specifically says that only like him
only like
and
5 people knew.
no, it's not even that. It's like 3 or 4
It's
people
it's like
know.
it's only Carmine, Beowulf, Soma, Lycia, maybe
But
Hakia,
but
Hakia for
but
sure.
Lysia doesn't know, and that's the important part.
Does she not
He
know?
states she does not know
Maybe
until
she
right
doesn't. Yeah.
before he makes his declaration on the dukedoms. Like, so it's
Oh
literally
yeah.
right before they have that conference he tells her, which is why I think us learning that, like, we don't have to learn what he tells her or what he was told. Just show him talking to her, because that amplifies that scene. And since I had such a problem with that scene, I would have liked it better to know
Just
that
be like
she knows
Lycia.
something important now.
It's about what General Magnus said,
Yeah,
right?
do you remember when I
And
had
then
to
just
talk to
cut.
him? Cut. Like,
Yeah,
and
I agree.
that's
That
all
would
you
actually
have
really
to
good.
do. That's all you have
Just
to
to
do.
be just
And
to remind people of like, hey, this thing we didn't forget about it. This is important and
but
relevant to what's happening.
again, what a small nitpick that is in the grand scheme of this
Yeah.
show. Which says something about it. Also, someone looks cool as fuck in this episode.
Dude, can we talk about how good the black out uniform looks? Like,
It's so good.
dude, it's so good. It's so crisp. It's like, delicious. Michael, what do you think of this episode?
I think I have the general same opinion as you and Sean that I love the Carmine bit. I was kind of like, oh wow, here's fucking 6 or 8 minutes of exposition about a plan that got revealed to this episode that hinges entirely on Soma being good at his job.
It's
Like
good that he's good at his job.
if Soma hadn't already won over the it's called Navy, and then already had a plan to defeat the Air Force, the entire plan with the Nobles fell through, and the Nobles get more power out of it. It just feels it's so awkward, so weird how it's displayed that he bets this entire thing on Soma, but he still acts like he doesn't trust Soma at all with the way he like talks.
Yeah, it's very weird because it's like he fully trusts Soma to the point where he can pretend like he doesn't trust Soma at all, right?
Yeah, it's
like,
such a weird thing to do with a character we've only seen talk like 5 times before this, and most of the time he's just like, "Hey, fuck you, Soma. Fuck you.
And
I hate you. Fuck you."
I do like though the setup of like how they set up this like entire arc of like having him be like in the room with Haku and be like, "Listen, if we're gonna do this act of cruelty, we're gonna get this in one fucking sweep. We're gonna finish the civil war. We're gonna go invade Amadonia. We're gonna take their capital. We're gonna get some land out of it, right? And go from there and figure out." There was one point I mentioned to Mason though that they don't really talk about yet that I feel like is going to be important, and it's the Declaration of Humankind or whatever.
They mentioned it a little bit in the first couple of episodes.
Yeah.
It's the one. Do you mind if I talk about it, John?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So it's the declaration that the Empire gave where they were
Yeah.
like, hey, so since we're all at war with demons right now, no fighting. Borders cannot be
No
changed.
fighting, kids.
No wars, no fighting amongst countries. We're fighting the demons right now, and that's it. And pretty much every country signed it except for Elfrieden. Um, and so Elfrieden is kind of beholden to it because every other country signed it, but also not because they didn't sign it. So if we're gonna see a kind of probably a pushback because on the one hand, Amadonia started the war, but on the other hand,
Amadonia is
the
still fucked here.
Amadonia is fucked either way, but it's the issue of, well, Elfrieden is now changing the borders again, and
Mhm.
that's a big no-no to the Empire. So let's see what happens now.
They do mention this in a recent episode. I don't think it was this one. I think it
It,
might
it
have
was
been
it was
last
when they
week.
showed the Amadonia
They
episode. They mentioned it.
I'm
Like
yeah, because I'm pretty sure they mention it in Amadonia.
Colbert does.
They're like, yeah, Alfred didn't sign that, just so technically they could. Like they mention it there. It just
So
that
technically,
did,
we can go to war.
that did slip my mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's a very big issue because like, how are we gonna resolve like
I think it's
the
fine.
war and the post-war? Is what I'm like
I think
wondering.
it's
Is like
fine
how
because
fast it's gonna go.
I think that's where this show ends, right? It sets you up with the we should
Post-war to start
consider the
next
fact
season.
that you didn't sign this and now there might be future repercussions that you do know about. What are your plans for that? And it's like, well, I guess you'll have to wait for next
Because
season.
like we did see Jean and Maria, who are like the Empress and her
Mhm.
royal guard leader, who's also her sister, because of course she is. And like we saw that like one shot of them at like the very start of the season, and we
Yeah.
haven't seen the Empire at all since then,
Well,
which is like the craziest thing.
We haven't needed to, but I could
Yeah,
also
no,
I
which
could
is
imagine
fine.
a light novel that does like splicing things with them.
It doesn't.
Okay.
That's the thing. That's the thing. The
It could.
pacing in this, like having read it, like it follows almost perfectly.
That's
Even
good.
like the awkwardness of like not knowing for so long. I didn't know like the meeting with Hal and them happens in light novel 1. The reveal with Carmine happens in the second novel. I have that entire gap too that I'm like,
Yeah,
what the fuck, show? When is this gonna happen?
that's nice.
And so it's like I like how faithful it's been, even if like some things like kind of like hinted at here. They're like, by the way, Juna actually a part of the military and pretty high up that she's leading this entire operation. Didn't even talk about that yet.
I forgot about well,
By the
we
way,
see the shot in this episode of her when she takes off. Man,
Yeah, so-
that outfit really hides a lot. They really are a good espionage group.
it's hard for her to hide those curves, dude. That's all I'm saying. I mean, did you see her
does-
family?
It does a good job at doing it.
I'm saying grandma's packing too. But
Grandma also has a fucking tail, doesn't she?
yes,
We said that last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Juna doesn't carry the same last name because it's like it's like her son's distant family kind of thing, not like direct like they're not close, we'll say, but they're close in that like they're kind of related stuff
Well,
is what I gathered from it.
before Dash
but-
spoils anything.
I'm only going with what is in this section.
Before
and that
Dash
fact that-
spoils anything, I think we've got a good grasp on Realist.
It's good.
Yeah.
Shit's good.
Hey Dodge, we're passing the torch for you for the next 2 shows. Let's
Oh,
talk
okay.
let's talk life lessons.
I wasn't sure if you were gonna grab one of my screenshots or grab your own.
I don't know what to say about life lessons. Life
I
lessons
enjoyed
is
these
good.
screenshots.
It's entertaining. I don't know how I felt about it this week. I felt it was all right. It just life lessons this week was probably weaker than the last couple, and that's why it's probably at the bottom for all of us. But
No,
I think this show's
has nothing
entertaining.
to do with that. It's just not.
No,
it's
I
just
actually really
nowhere-
like this week.
I really like this week. It's just nowhere near good enough
I'm-
to stand in
it's
top
hard,
3.
dude. The top 3 were like you're actually sitting there like, damn, those were all really fucking good episodes. Like if this episode of Realist was like last week, it might be number 1 for the week. You know, just depending on what else is around it. But like Life Lessons is good. It's entertaining. It's funny. I love Kumatani.
Tony's so
Kumatani
good.
low key became like the best guy in the show. Like it was like Uramichi
I-
forever, and then like
Mm.
Kumatani just like
I
skyrocketed
still
up the last
disagree
couple
with you.
episodes.
I still really like Uramichi.
Well,
In
yeah, I know.
fact, Probably my biggest problem with this episode, and it's not like anything that like makes the episode bad. It just like this episode gets so close to making me feel like we're just gonna talk about Uramichi, and we're just kind of gonna like learn a little bit about him, why he's the way he is, like why he Like we're gonna learn some stuff about his past, and then we just kind of play it off as a gag, which is fine. Like it's what the show does, so I'm not upset about it at all. And the gag's a nice and wholesome one, so like with the dress, and it all works out well.
I mean, did you? I knew that was gonna be a gag from the moment we saw it. I'm like, oh, this isn't
Yeah.
gonna be anything about him.
No, no, no,
This is
no,
gonna
no,
be.
no.
It's gonna be a gift gimmick.
No. I knew
If you-
that. I mean, before they talk about the gift, you have the right cast of characters set up at a bar that they could literally have just done a like,
Oh yeah.
damn, let's just shoot the shit talking about Uramichi and like learn some things about Uramichi that maybe we do or don't know. And
Yeah,
like
wanna remember Uramichi's
and I honestly wouldn't hate if this show closed its show by just talking about him and why he acts the way he does, because like the way he's portrayed when he talks versus the way that he acts with the kids is different enough that like you could close this show on a really good note talking about why it's like that, and I would very much enjoy that. And I just don't, and whether or not we get it, I don't think changes my over. I think if we get it, it makes the show a lot better in my opinion. But if we don't, I wouldn't care, like because it's still gonna be a good slice of life comedy.
The show was like my surprise like win of the season. I did not expect it to be as good as it was, but I really enjoy the characters. I like how they're all pretty much the same every week. And like can you talk about how talented the cast actually is in this show
Yeah.
too? I feel like they
Yeah,
all knock it.
our two
absolutely
singers
out of
are
the park.
actually fucking
The
amazing.
singers are really
Yeah.
fucking good, like really, really good. And it's like, why are you here? First of all, but yeah, I think Uramichi's still the best, but like Kumatani's like right there for me right now because
I
like
think
his
it's-
backstory is really good, like his character is really good. I also like that he's just like he doesn't tell Utao Kun
So
Usao. He doesn't tell him anything because he knows Uramichi's just looking for like gifts for like his niece or whatever. So he's just fucking with him and letting him worry about it. You know, he's just like, Uramichi, how'd the gift for your niece go? Oh, good. Good to hear. Yeah, I'm glad to hear. Yeah, no
I mean,
problem. I don't mind helping.
They were
Let me
also
see anything.
they were also drinking. He might not actually legitimately remember that he was worried about it, or he just blocks out.
I mean, he was sitting there going, "Who are you? I don't know you. What? Get away from me."
I also really like a guy in the product department.
Pikachu, yeah.
Yeah.
He's growing
I-
on me. Yeah.
He's really
I
fun.
love him.
I really enjoyed the bit where we see his phone and the name hidden as contacts for the sales guy
Yeah.
is absolute bastard
Mhm.
salesman, absolute bastard or whatever.
Bastard in parentheses.
I didn't
yeah.
see that one.
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah,
I was surprised
it's
you
just
guys,
a thing and then in
you
parentheses
guys
it says it
did-
again.
you guys did not comment. It's when he hangs up the phone in the bar.
Yeah, I was gonna screenshot that one too.
You
I
guys-
almost did.
I was almost going to because they didn't react to it, so I was gonna I thought about screenshotting it and using it so they would see it. It's a real good bit. Cause I name people dumb shit in my phone. Like
I'm gonna go grab it.
I'll put dumb fucking names in for them and then in like parentheses after their actual name.
I just have a lot of people on my phone named like weird ass fucking like names like I have one name for my old roommate that is whatever body part up, and then another one that is elastic asshole.
We have a mutual friend who played Ultimate Frisbee, and I had them in my phone for a long time as Frisbee, and then they decided they wanted to go by they them pronouns, and like because they're non-binary, so I changed it to Frizz they in my phone.
That's good.
My
Alex on the other podcast is in my phone as Supreme Leader of North Korea. Because
Okay.
he used to wear a hoodie of Kim Jong Un's face during high
Why?
school.
That sounds
he-
like people who wear Higo hoodies to
he-
fucking cons.
He memed really hard in high school and made a lot of people think he was like super conservative, and it was really funny because I had a lot of people who were like, "Is he actually like that?" I'm like, honestly, he could be. Give him 5 days, he'll flip flop. He'll do what he wants. You can't get a read on that man. We went to Washington D.C. We toured Washington D.C. Went to the Jefferson Memorial, and that man wore his Kim Jong Un hoodie outside.
That's a bold move.
It was
God.
so fucking funny.
That's really bad. You guys are.
But life lessons.
I feel so boomer that I'm just like, okay. I have a counter argument to your point saying that Uramichi's the best character. He's not. It's the kids.
I mean, well, true,
Really?
absolutely.
Yo, it's specifically the kid whose mom is an old friend of our
Oh
boy.
my
I love that tiny little bit. Where he's
You
like,
knew
"Yeah."
exactly where that was going, but like you're
Mhm.
just like, I'm here for the train wreck along the ride.
See, I didn't even think about it when he brings him the toy. I'm like, Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's that toy we saw earlier. The joke is that it wasn't released because of course it's not fucking released.
It's the
dumb.
new one. Yeah.
And the doors to his heart
Hey,
open and
Hawkins?
stay open.
And
Finally.
stay
Hawkins just
open.
like, yes, he's fucking crazy, but also he's just a good boy.
Sure, he's a reject.
He's crazy because of his workplace, much like Uramichi.
Much
Sure,
like everybody
he's a,
there.
He's a given reject, but he's here and we love him.
I was like, what do you mean? We have to do the bit again where he turns his neck rapidly as
I-
right left man.
I enjoyed the beginning of this episode too. I thought it was
Yeah.
I thought it was
I thought that
cute.
bit went a little bit too long, but man, did I actually kind of enjoy it. Like
The-
right left man.
The bit at the very beginning before we get the credits where it's them walking up to him and he just does the quick like eye shift followed by just slowly closing the door on them and walking away. I don't know why that was so fucking funny to me, but it was.
We also get the bit where the kids confirm that marketing is correct and they do not care about his face.
Yeah, that
What
was really
face?
good.
And it just blurs the toy during the mid card. One of the
That did
5
help me.
mid cards.
I also was very tempted to grab that as a screenshot.
We were
The
too.
blurred toy.
I just thought like the bits that get me the most sometimes these episodes outside of like the kids and stuff is just like the little like whenever like it's the screen card in between like what would basically be between chapters of like the gag manga, right? It's just the Uramichi Onisan. Like whenever it's like depressingly sad, it's
Yeah.
the best ones.
Yeah, and it's just whatever character was most recently talking and in whatever tone they were currently talking, and it's wonderful. You get some real funny ones.
I just thought
Full
the
Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal
Uramichi
Alchemist.
Onisan.
Full
This
Metal Alchemist.
I really
Metal
hope this dub has outtakes in it once it's done, and that we get like a blooper reel
Oh,
for this
I
dub. 'cause
sure
This
hope
dub's
so.
good. I did
I
listen
need
to
to-
some
Did you
of
watch
this
me
Is
get
the dub good?
Uramichi's voice actor is so good.
I need to
Uh,
watch that.
I watched the first
I-
like 3 minutes and went, this dub is amazing. That's because I heard Uramichi speak.
I wonder if they make like English references instead of Japanese ones.
Yeah, I didn't watch through, but I looked at some of the cast, and some of the cast are very good. I know some
Troy
of them,
Baker.
So I think he. What there is I don't know if it's Troy, but there is a voice actor
Oh.
who's very well known who's in this show, as like one of the side supporting cast characters. It was
Full
hard.
Metal
It was hard to find this cast list because it's one of those shows that took a little longer to find the voice cast for.
It's just like the
Fucking-
exact show a dub is perfect for.
Oh
Though.
no!
Ray Chase is in the
Yeah,
Ray
it's Ray Chase.
show.
It's Ray Chase. Yeah, it's Ray Chase.
He's fucking Usao. Oh no!
Let's go, Ray.
Let's fucking go.
That's a good
Oh
cast.
my
That's
God.
a good cast.
Ray Chase is actually like arguably my favorite voice
Yeah.
actor just because of how much of a fucking meme he is. And it's so wonderful. I love that man. He's also a genuinely good guy.
The dude who's doing Uramichi, he was the one I looked up before. He's done a couple of. He's the main character from Snafu.
Oh,
in the
Oh,
dub.
he's
yeah,
a good guy.
Yeah.
that's
He
that's
also,
interesting actually. 'Cause that's a very different tone of voice.
Yeah.
Actually,
um,
no. You know what? First season, it's
He's
the same,
also
it's
and
the same
this is
character.
how you know him, Mason. He's Suga.
He's
in the-
Sugawara.
in the dub
Yeah.
for Haikyuu.
They changed the voice actor for Todoroki. He's the new voice actor for Todoroki. Oh, he's Natsuo. Okay.
He's done a lot actually.
But yeah, English voice actors don't exactly have as much of a diverse pool per se, which is a good thing for the voice actors to get more work. But
Oh, he's also Tomozaki in Tomozaki.
no, Tom was like,
And I wanted to check. I real quick. We're getting sidetracked here on a great cast of people, but
it's okay. This is the season where this is the part where we only have 4 shows. We need to get
The-
sidetracked.
person who's doing Utano, she has done. I'm looking for.
Oh, she's Hanj.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
These are
a good voice.
That's a
That's
very
voice.
good voice.
She's also.
I've
she's
only watched
also-
that show dubbed.
She's
you know,
also
the season two,
Hakwa
but-
in The World God Only Knows. In Goddesses.
Aqua.
She's
Which
the
one is
other.
that?
She's the other Reaper. She's the purple.
Oh,
one.
I love that girl.
Yeah.
She's great. I think I watched that back when it was in dub too, because
Yeah.
that's like when I was first watching anime. When you're first watching anime, you always watch it in dub because you're
yeah.
like,
Easier.
ew, Japanese. Ugh. Why would I
It's
read my?
just easier to
Why would I
watch
read
dub.
my shows?
I will still stay by the fact that dubs are easier to watch.
Well, yeah,
They
you
are.
can, like, fucking not
Most of
pay
the time, I
attention
will
and
watch a
hear.
dub over a sub just because it's an easier time to watch.
Yeah, it's because I can do shit while I'm doing it.
It's like one of those things. It's like, oh, you shouldn't be doing other things. It's like sometimes I take my eyes off the screen for 3 seconds. Damn, I missed an entire set of important dialogue.
Mhm.
Damn,
I wouldn't know.
But I mean, this show
Uh,
is this show's
this show's
really
good.
good. I like it a lot. It was definitely a surprise
grew on
for
ya.
me. Yeah, for sure.
I'm happy. I
Oh my
picked one
God.
winner comedy in my 5 seasons here, or 4
I
seasons
mean,
now.
comedy this season just was good. Apparently,
Comedy hard, dude.
So Kumatani is voiced by the person who did Longest Dub voice for in Skate,
Oh boy.
and he's real good. The Skate the Infinity dub cast is also really solid.
They're pretty good, yeah.
bitches and
Um,
bros and non-binary hoes.
Guys,
um,
gals, and non-binary pals.
so the guy who plays Iketeru is also in Danganronpa 3.
Oh man.
Also, so was the person who does him Uramichi, but it doesn't say a character, so I guess he's just X background
Extra
characters.
voices.
He is Izuyoi in Danganronpa 3.
Is
Also
he
in Doctor
Iketeru's?
Stone. Yeah. Also in Doctor Stone as Gen Asagiri.
Okay, back to focus on the podcast, guys.
I'm sorry.
It is
Hey,
very
this
late.
is relevant.
It is 2 a.m.
That's fine.
Oh, easy! Oh my god!
Oh, he's fucking. Oh,
Which one is
it's
that,
this
Michael?
guy.
In the
Blacksmith.
Easy- Oh, good. Yeah, he's a good boy.
Okay,
It took me. I was like, which one is that? I looked him up. I'm like, oh, that's the fucking blacksmith.
okay. So I figured out why I knew that name. It's because he's the guy who voices Night Eye, and if you didn't know, the guy who voices Night Eye, is Night Eye. He fucking cosplays as Night Eye all the
Good.
time. It's amazing, honestly.
That's cool.
Well,
Yeah.
Also, he did he does fucking pseudo Ken from Classroom of the Elite.
That's an interesting character.
are we?
Very unimportant character in the anime, but
Very
important
relevant
character in the
in the
light novel from the time Volume 5 starts.
However,
I mean, honestly, he's
Oh.
important in that arc too.
Also engaged to J. Michael Tatum.
Who?
J. Michael Tatum is the voice of Scar, I believe.
it is time, however, for
Prater?
us to unpack the bag.
Yeah, for us to spend the next hour talking about
I don't know if it'll be.
eh.
Well, Dash, we pass the torch to you. Try not to butcher this episode.
So, this episode opens again away from our main cast. It opens on a character who we've seen briefly in bits and pieces. We saw her last episode. I don't remember her name. I'm bad at names. I'll
I
go
don't know
get
if we've
one name.
gotten
Right
a
this
name for
episode.
her.
We
don't
did
think
for
so.
sure because they mentioned her name. I think in episode 1. Funny enough. Like,
Yeah,
I think
because
episode
she's
1, they
been
mentioned her
with our
because-
main group the entire time somehow.
because they mentioned
all of us
directly
forgot her.
she has a broken arm that will never heal.
I mean,
and they mentioned her by name, but it's been so fucking long and there's so much shit that's happened. I have no clue. So I'm just gonna call her Broken Arm Girl.
Yeah,
Is that fair game?
I've known she's been around, and I knew when we started this episode that she was the one from the Brothers episode. 'Cause that
Yeah, I
stuck in
knew she
my
was one
brain.
from the Brothers.
It
I
didn't
just
click
didn't
for me.
realize she was. I didn't think she was from the main group.
Well, she had to be because she was with Akasa.
We saw
See,
the-
I didn't
Akase.
realize she was with. I didn't think she was with Aki at the beginning. I was just like, it's a group of kids on a bus. It's Magic School Bus.
Nope.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally Miss Frizzle.
Hockey's Miss Frizzle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Continue, Dash.
And so we learned that her power all along she's been hiding because she has the ability to remind. And like, let's be honest, if someone had the ability to remind, you wouldn't trust them for shit because they know everything you're thinking, and that's kind of invasive. And so she names Power Monologue. She's been with the class from the beginning, like we mentioned, and was with the group that went along with Mikaki's summer camp, and they were effectively graduating and sent to the battlefield for war. Again, all these are in quotations because they're all like meaningless, meaningful terms. If you know what I'm saying. Does that make sense at all? Probably not.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
So
It's just
this
Sunny
girl,
Boy. Everything
broken
makes sense.
arm girl, actually likes Asakaze. Are you guys proud?
For some
proud.
reason.
Proud of
I'm proud.
you. You
I
Still
wrote it-
understand.
I wrote it
still
down.
understand. Still understand why. Don't
I
understand why
put
the fuck
uwu
she
after
likes
that.
him.
So and he's been listed as one of the elites basically. So he's not just like a frontline unit. He's like an elite unit because obviously he has this power that can like do anything. He's our MC Escher boy after all. You didn't think I was gonna say it. I was gonna say it. Of course, I'm gonna say it. But meanwhile, obviously, Asakaze only likes Nozomi. And he seems like he has this weird like thing where it seems like he has a good head on his shoulders in most times whenever you hear him like talk, but then whenever he's around Nozomi, he just loses his fucking mental. And so basically, yeah, let's see. You have a guy who tries to confess to Broken Arm Girl, and she just fucking vanishes from thin air. It was pretty funny. Noped out of there. So no confession for our poor man Kaga. Obviously Asakaze still thinking about Nozomi all the time, and she's just like, listen, he's gonna fail, but like I'm gonna be there when he fails, so that he'll come to me. That's her game plan, I guess, here. And I'm just like, love is hard, right? So Broken Arm Girl wants the world to change, so she can protect Asakaze because she has no fucking trust in Misaki because she can read fucking minds. And then they find out that the god slash principal wants Asakaze to create death in this world and to stop the stop war is what we say basically. Someone is going to incite war, and it isn't until like 10 minutes later that I realized war. Oh, he means like the person war that we talked about in dog background war, not actual war, because they describe it like a war, but actually he means the person war. And kill this person to create death in the world basically. We then cut to our main cast to a bit, and we hear that each of the three cats has their own role to play. Tora places the orders, Jen transports the orders, and then Sakura makes copies of these orders from the real world, including the real thing, or including living things. Is what we find out. And the cats have their own ethics, but are likely the ones behind the copies, right? So we still don't know exactly what Mizo's power is.
Yeah.
That's what all the cast also mentions.
Yet,
So
at this point in the episode, yet.
Yeah. So we kind of question like what exactly is Mizuho's like power or her like potential, right? Like what is she being held back from? Thinking that this has been her power the whole time. Nozomi decides that she's going to go with the other group and meet up with Asakaze and Broken Arm Girl, who say they're going after war basically. So like let's tag along, and then Broken Arm Nozomi is like, nah, I'm good. And then you have Broken Arm Girl who's like, no, let's tag along. And she's like, okay, whatever. And so the four of them with Miss Aki go to deal with this war, and they come across this scarred world where there's just this crevasse or trench that just is super deep, basically. And there's just a scar in the world, basically.
Deep cut.
And so we find War, who's just basically like suspended in like free fall now, which is interesting. And even when he's like sitting down on the rock, you still have like the wind going through it. It's pretty cool. And then Broken Arm Girl is trying to have Nozomi convince Asakaze to stop following Aki, and stopping war, because obviously she's going to oppose killing. But, Asakaze gets tilted. He leaves, decides he's going after war, gets comforted by Booba. She uses the big word and relativistically. Big words are cool. I write here that I like the spontaneous of Nozomi, and the impact she's having on all the characters around her, including, this girl where she just like, she gets frustrated messaging him and then just throws her phone in the fucking crevasse, and the other girl's like, fuck it, yeah, that's fun, let's do that. And then basically the guy, they, quote unquote kill him somehow. He just kind of like ceases to exist and leaves behind the power holdover, which is the gun that we saw him use back in the dog flashback, basically. And the second he picks up this gun, Nozomi basically falls into this crevasse, and instead of saving her, she's just gone. And what's left is a compass on the ground, which makes me wonder if these power holdovers are actually like people holdovers to a degree. We don't know if she's dead or not. We just see this compass left behind. And that's where it kind of like cuts as they just, well, what the fuck's happening?
Mm-hmm.
We see God holding the gun and he fires, and it's like, wow, that's a quick reaction. It makes like a quip like that. And then, yeah, Nozomi's gone. And I'm going to be sad if Nozomi's gone. Because I like Nozomi.
This is going to be a fucking wild end if Nozomi's gone.
Yeah, if she's just fucking dead.
How many episodes do we have left of the show, too?
She's dead in the world. Oh, I forgot one more thing. There was
Not
an experiment Nagoro ran where they ordered 2 chickens.
Yeah, this is
And
the end of the
he
episode. You didn't
killed-
forget it. You haven't gotten to it yet.
He killed both of them. And the one on the left is the one Nagoro ordered, and the one on the right is the one Mizuho ordered. And the one on the right comes back to life because nothing can die. But the copy did. And I'm really confused
Okay,
about what that meaning
so-
is.
Basically, do
So
we want
if
to dive
someone
in?
wants to
Do we
fix
want to dive
that-
into this part real quick?
Right.
So
But isn't it also still get its head back?
Yeah.
he didn't cut the heads, he cut the throats, but
So my whole
Cuts off.
thought.
Um,
Okay, so I had a couple of theories about this. So the first one was that the whole reason why this episode exists is because God is trying to introduce death into the world because he wants to kill these kids because they're kind of just like a loose thread now and he doesn't want to deal with them anymore, but he can't really just do that. So he's trying to make it so that they can die and then he can just actually kill them.
I think there's a little more to it than that. I think if you're right, Mason, I think it's more of that the longer he lets these kids stay, the more likely of a chance that they can aid a future generation, or that a future generation that comes in who could overwhelm and dethrone God can use the tools from the previous ones who have been around. By getting rid of them and by enabling like a mass collection of all of these items, he can restrain them from stopping him, right? If he lets things keep growing the way they have been, it's bad for him.
Fair enough. The other one was that so we learned how the cats work this episode,
Yes.
right? And so at the very end, they show that there's two chickens, and Nagara states that the one on the right, which is our left, is the one that Mizuho ordered, and the one on the left is the one that he ordered. So, because of how the cats work, the first one is always the original, and the second one is the copy.
Mhm.
So we see him kill both of them because we see a blood stain at the on the like below both of them after it cuts back. Then it cuts back again, and the one on the right, so the original, is moving again, but the one on the left is still dead. So, from what I can tell from that, it means that the originals cannot die in this world.
Why
But
though?
now,
This is the important part: is why can't they die?
because death hasn't been created for this world.
No, I don't even think that
because
matters.
it's this world.
no,
Neither of those
because
things are important.
I
Kind
will
of.
also death has been created for this world because from what it seems like it's created across all worlds because this one world that they were in where they were trying to kill War wasn't the original world that they were on. The original world that they were on was in
School.
no, sorry. Like the original world that War started on
Oh.
was the island. So, from what it seems like, it means anywhere in this void, any of this worlds now have death.
So, this is a very important part: is that Nagara states that I think it's him. I think the voice is his in the scene because we aren't looking at the person who's speaking. But after he slits the chicken's throats, he specifically says that Mizuho does not want to witness death. And this is very important because I think the implication here is that Mizuho's power is that the originals cannot die as long as she wills it.
See, I had a theory like that too.
And here's why I think this is super important, right? Because what do we know about their plan to go back? We know that in their plan to go back,
It was
Nozomi
close.
dies in that timeline. Which to me is a hint that those are. We get the huge argument afterwards of like, who is really the copy? Who is the real one? You guys could have been the copies. Who knows? They had the luck of the draw. We're learning right now that that's not inherently true. That the cats kind of messed with some things. Because the implication is that if both Raj or Nagara in the moment when he was doing this would have known about the cat's power, they would have been able to prevent this from happening probably by doing something.
They would have
Most likely-
succeeded. Is what they said.
Yeah, they
It
would have
would've worked.
succeeded, which means they would have been the ones to go back. Which this implies that, Nozomi's personality should have been caused by her realizing she's dead. Like, this is all entirely not accurate, because they're the real ones. And I think that's the important clue they're trying to get us to connect here, is that because the Nozomi on the other end winds up dying when they go for this plan, it's a sign that group's the copies. And I think I don't inherently know exactly how Mizuho's power works because we haven't gotten like an explanation for it. We just have an understanding that she is preventing the death of the originals in some way. This is I really like this episode. I
I
think
would
it's
too if I understood it.
There's
I
a lot
think
that happens
Credit
this
number
episode.
one.
I think
My brain enjoyed it. I don't know exactly why, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed everything about this episode on a technical level, as I always do. The one insert song we get absolutely
Oh.
slapped
it's a good
Yeah,
montage
absolutely.
song.
for no reason. It was just a good time.
Music in the show slaps when it's
Yeah.
actually there.
Also, my brain just goes serotonin because I hear war and death and go, ooh, Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
See, my brain goes
ooh."
very melanin because it's very sad and wants to go to sleep because Nozomi might be dead and I'm sad now.
So
Nozomi's my
Yeah.
favorite character of the show.
there's a couple of things for me in this episode. The first is that I think this is a really crucial episode this show needed, which is a reframing of characters' actions and motives throughout the entire show. And using this girl to do it is a wonderful way. And I think it's interesting to note that there are a couple of characters we never get the reframing of, and that's like 3 of our main cast. We only hear one thought line from Nagara the entire episode, and it's something we already kind of know from the scene with him and Nozomi.
Yeah,
When
well,
they're out in the
it's
cold.
it's something we do know because
Yeah.
it's when in that episode he says it in his internal monologue.
Yeah,
So
It's the
she
same
just
thing.
hears, and
Which-
it's literally just the same thing.
which is really cool. We don't ever hear anything from Raj's. She never thinks about Raj, so we never see or hear his, and we don't really get anything from Mizuho either. Which I think seems to imply that that we can take these 3 characters along with Nozomi as kind of what we know about them has been kind of accurate to that degree.
Face value, yeah.
But the fact that we don't know a lot about Mizuho to really make that statement. Whereas every other character that we hear the thoughts of is kind of meant to reframe things about them. Like, you
Yeah.
may not like Asakaze, but you have to understand that he's
He's
coming
simping.
from a very particular place that, like, yes, he's head over heels for Nozomi. He's been rejected, and so his only idea to get back and, like, try to have another shot is for him just to be like, well, you are no longer safe where you are, and I'm gonna protect you. He's just saying dumb shit while he's thinking of the right things, right? Like,
he's a teenager.
yeah.
Like that's another thing that is a very like it can be forgotten when you're watching the show is like these are still kids. And like yeah, they've been there a while, so they have
They're
matured
like 14, aren't
mentally.
they?
No, they're 16.
But they're in like middle school graduation.
Middle school graduation for Japan is 9th grade
Hmm,
because they have 3 years of high school, not 4.
that's right.
Yeah.
So they're like 15, 16.
But I think this episode frames that really well. I really enjoy the implication that Nagara's just like, now that he's kind of gotten his stuff together, he's just on top of it. He's able to connect dots that Raj had started to connect and like pick up his work literally right where he left off and like tie pieces
gets it.
together. Like, it's a really cool moment for Nagara in this episode, I think.
I said like
Absolutely.
Nagara's development in the show has been some of the best this season, like of any character at all, because he's just like he went from like, I'm sad, no one likes me, the character, to like, okay, I need to do shit because everyone else did so much shit for me before, right? Like when I was having issues, when I wasn't like with it, when no one liked me, everyone like Nozomi dragged me into this fucking existence to meet these people. So I need to help her. I need to help
don't
Mizuho.
inherently the thing I understand the least in this episode is why War is in the state he's in. I have
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
no good reason of
Well,
why
we do
that
know
could
that-
be.
5,000 years have passed basically since
Yeah.
the dog scene.
But I mean, maybe it's just one of those things where you do what he did for so long, you just kind of lose it and
Or
just
you become
empty.
empty.
Like, you lose all humanity and just
That's
are
interesting. The
nothing.
line where it's like
Well,
he's empty.
So the thing that got me that I was very confused about is why so he was falling, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
And then when they
Free
picked him,
falling.
God damn it, John, I'm trying to make a point. So, anyways,
When he stops falling, is that where you were going?
yes, thank you. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So when they pick him up from like and make him stop falling, he still has the wind blowing past him no matter what, when no one else does, which is a weird thing about it. It's like he's constantly falling even when he's not.
We also have the scene with the gun and the compass, which I think is really interesting because I don't inherently dislike the idea that, you know, when people die, you get the trinkets for the this worlds, because the this worlds have, in at least recent episodes, been directly connected to characters. But also, we have had this worlds that have not been directly connected to characters, and when they've been cleared, like they get the items from them. So in that regard, the fact that we get 2 items here, like, you can either look at this as Nozomi and War are both dead, or War is dead and the world is cleared, and that's where the 2 weapons come from. Like, I think one's an explanation that you can use to write how Nozomi lives through this. The other's an explanation of just how the system works, and is kind of flushing it out using Nozomi's death. But we don't know yet, because we don't know what the outcome's gonna be.
Please don't kill my best girl show.
It was also a bit notable too that once War was killed, the red wound that they had turned from red to white, which I don't know what the significance of that is, but I know it's significant.
It's also really interesting that when he disappears, the gun's right where he was, and when Nozomi dies, the compass is also kind of right where he was.
I think the compass was right where she was. It was right at the edge of the cliff.
Well, no, because the cliff's gone. And I don't think the compass shot was.
Did she fall as the world was collapsing?
No, it was maybe a foot or 2 away from the gun.
And then we have the interesting line from God, as right before Nozomi falls, when Asakaze kind of goes to almost save her, and then he doesn't, where he says something more along the lines of spontaneous power, which seems to imply that there may be something to Asakaze and his power set that isn't necessarily under his control than he thinks it is. Which might inherently mean that he didn't intentionally not save her, but he definitely thought about it because he definitely thought about it because we had the girl recognize that he's not the person she thought he was in that moment. Which I think, knowing her character, she would not only be drawing that from what she just saw, but also from what he's thinking.
Well, we also get the line of him thinking, "Wait, why did I?"
Yeah.
And then it cuts off. And I think from what it said, from at least what I was getting, from what it seemed, it was he was going to save Nozomi, and then God said, "Haha, no, fuck you," and turned his power off.
Yeah.
That's kind of the gist I got too. Is it was he couldn't save her.
Also, Aki's kind of terrifying as fuck.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with her, and I don't want to know, but I also do want to know because she's really worrying me.
Yeah.
Just like Miss.
I just want to watch more of this show.
I can't wait for us to find out that Aki is actually just an Eldritch God.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
What are the? I'm trying to think. What?
Do we still have 2 more episodes of the show?
What? It's Death,
It's,
War.
Death, War, Pestilence, and Famine.
Depending on which part of the Bible you look at. Technically, Pestilence isn't one of them. Technically, it's Conquest, War, Famine, and Death.
Conquest, yeah.
In another part of the Bible, though, they are Sword, Famine, Wild Beasts, and then Pestilence or Plague.
Okay, yes. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I know the 4 great beasts.
Sean, I've been looking this up since last week or 2 weeks ago when we met War. I was like, I gotta fucking know. Because my brain always went, Death, Pestilence, War, and that other one. But technically, Pestilence and War never exist in the same one. The Bible's weird. Bible's big book.
It's also really good against Mom.
Fuck you.
Hey, where do you think my knowledge came from? I've been playing Isaac this week, dude.
Voting's up, by the way.
God. This is a good season, man. I think the
fun fact is that's not the common take about the season, apparently. Apparently people really think the season was lackluster.
I think it's just because a lot of people like their sequels, and a lot of the sequels weren't as what people thought.
But I've heard Slime is killing it. I've heard people
Slime's
really
great.
like
I've only heard good.
Kobayashi.
Yeah, and I've
I haven't
only
heard
heard good
shit
things about the other ones.
about second season of Otome game.
Oh, was Higurashi last season?
2 seasons ago, I thought.
No, it's some second season for the remake. Is that
Not
this
sure.
season?
It might be next.
Because I remember hearing
don't know.
that it's second that's to remake second season was really good.
You know what the best part about this season is? It's basically done, so now I can read as much Real Hero as I want. Big pause.
Sean, I hope you like my name.
I've been holding back so hard this entire season. I think my name's pretty accurate. It's just still has no idea what's going on in Sunny Boy, to be honest.
Michael, have you not voted?
Not yet.
I figured.
I was thinking of a dumb fucking name to put.
I put a good one. I had a really good one this
It
week.
would be incredible if somehow Michael puts the same one.
There's no fucking way it's the same one.
No.
No,
Mine
there's
is so
no
ridiculous.
fucking way.
That's a joke about something
You-
I just said.
You say
There's no way
that,
someone else picked up on it
You
instantly.
say that, but so we have, I had to do it to Uramichi Oni-san. War, death, pestilence, famine. Long ago, the 4 horsemen lived in harmony, but then everything changed when Asakaze attacked. Still have no idea what's going on in Sunny Boy TBH, and Wild Beasts is my favorite horseman. There's a surprise, guys. There's only slays on one show, and all of us did it.
All of them are unrealistic.
Yep,
Let's
you
move
got
on.
no. Uramichi is gone. I don't think we're inherently surprised. I didn't get a chance to watch Remake just because of how tight my schedule was.
I've been waiting to watch it with Sean.
I plan on, once the season is done, going and finishing everything from Girlfriend onwards, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch Remake right after this, I won't lie. I'm watch Remake, I'm watch Real Hero, see how they did that.
I will
Got a couple hours
say that I also got to watch, and I didn't talk about this earlier, but I got to watch episode 8 of Peach Boy.
Oh.
It picks
How
up.
bad was
It
that?
finally picks up where episode 3 is.
Oh yeah,
Spoilers.
you
it's about
finally-
the end of 3.
You finally get to her. So you finally get to her to make her choice, and her choice is Makoto, because she thinks
Well, yeah.
she doesn't want to betray Makoto. As simple as it is. She thinks
I thought you
that
should
she thinks that she can get him out of his ideal that all Onis has to die.
her only choices was Makoto or herself, basically.
But she could work with Big Oni.
No
Man.
shot. No
And then it ends with
shot.
Then it ends with the scene that makes 0 sense because episode 11 hasn't happened yet,
Okay, yeah, this
and we haven't met the witch from the Tree Oni arc.
First important thing about this episode, we get to see Todoroki, the small Oni, who was real upset about Carrot's death, exist. He's really cool.
He has lightning powers.
He's real rad. And he fights Hawthorne. They segment. It's a squad of four Onis and Sumeragi, who's the big preacher Oni. And they segment them across the area. So Todoroki takes on Hawthorne. Carrot fights Stretchy Arm Oni, which I'll talk a little bit
Luffy.
about in a minute.
He's a funny man.
Frau fights a Griffin Oni, like a lightning griffin, like a Chidori Oni. And then Sally's being held back by Sumeragi, and then Makoto goes outside the town and is like, yo, there's this fucking sleeping Oni here, and he gets fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Moki Moki Kid, the big the little Lebowski or whatever they fucking call him, and Makoto just gets put straight to sleep. So he's just removed from the fight.
And then the one that's sleeping on the floor smiles or
Yeah.
smirks.
And the idea, the thing that's really cool, but sucks in the anime, is that the entire time, Todoroki's just kind of like, he's looking at Hawthorne and he's like, so you're Peach Boy, huh? I'm gonna kick your ass for what you did to Meki. And he's like, and fucking Hawthorne's like, who the fuck's Meki? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Which inherently is a better point when you have to imagine that he just refers to Carrot as a nameless ogre, and Todoroki's just mad because Carrot was killed, but Hawthorne can't make that connection because he's talking
She's
about someone who
not
doesn't
dead.
have a fucking name. So when you give her a name, but also give her another name, and then say she shouldn't have a name, that whole anything that relates to the naming scheme gets fucked up. Hawthorne's rad as fuck. I just want to
Hawthorne's
say.
great. Yeah,
He's
we
pretty
also have these
strong.
fun bits where he doesn't like. I guess the idea that he doesn't know what
show's
the term
killing me.
Peach Boy means. We just sits there and goes,
Yeah,
"Oh,
he has no reason.
what?"
He hasn't seen Sally's eyes do the thing yet. Hawthorne's really cool because he's basically in the arena and the guards come rushing and they're like, damn, the Onis are attacking. If you can help us kill the Onis, you'll get a shit ton of money. And Hawthorne steps out and he's like,
Here comes the money.
he's like,
Here we
if I was a more influential person in this town, which I'm not, I would try to tell these people that it's literally a death sentence to try to go kill these Onis, but none of them would ever listen to me. So I'm just gonna go. And he
Dope.
just leaves, and then this one guy's like, yo, you kicked my ass in the first round. I'm actually gonna go kill these Onis so that I can help my family. And Hawthorne looks him dead in the eyes and goes, you wanna help your wife and your son? Leave this fucking town now. That's the best thing you can do. And then, and unfortunately, the scene would have been better if they didn't foreshadow it. But you see the storm cloud above in the skies, and after he delivers that line, the man next to him turns into a fucking crisp and is dead. Because Todoroki's just shocked him.
This is what you introduced Todoroki.
Todoroki turns the corner and is like, "Damn, I meant to get both of you, but I guess I'm gonna have to kill you now." And you're sitting there like, "Damn, how is Hawthorne gonna like buy any amount of time?" And Todoroki goes to snap the next lightning bolt, and Hawthorne throws his metal sword into the air to be a lightning conductor, and goes and
Okay, that's sick.
Big brain
and
and then
punches
he-
the kid in the face.
yeah, and Todoroki's like, "Damn, that was kind of a cheap trick, but now I understand how you killed Meki. Yeah, I'm not going to fucking go easy on you."
Again.
And then Hawthorne just fucking books it and just dodges lightning for an hour. And Todoroki's like, "Damn, you are a fucking coward." And then gets him cornered in an alleyway. And Hawthorne just has this wooden training
Who's
sword.
Todoroki again, by the way?
He's the small Oni who's like really upset in episode 3 that Carrot
Okay.
dies.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And Todoroki's just like, "You're a coward. I hate that you killed Carrot because it upsets me that a coward like you could do it." And then Todoroki's like, "Let's see how you dodge this next one," and fucking summons his cannon, and his cannon is literally just like a Susanoo style.
It's a stand.
It's a stand. It's a giant electrical stand. And he goes to fire this blast, and
Oh,
Hawthorne
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
and
of course.
Hawthorne goes, "There is no way for me to dodge this. I'm gonna at least try to do the most damage I possibly can," and charges at Todoroki. And Todoroki just goes, "You know what? Maybe I'm wrong. You might be an idiot, but at least you do got some guts." And then the episode ends on fucking Winnie the Witch, who we haven't met yet in the story, coming in and saving Hawthorne. And the most frustrating part about it is that Hawthorne delivers a, "Winnie, why are you here?" kind of like which, like, if you're watching the anime, comes out as a like, "Why are you here?" Like, into the audience, it's like, "Yeah, why are you here? We don't know you. Like, who the fuck are you?" But in the manga, this scene would be portrayed as, "Winnie, why are you here? You have no reason to get involved in this. You don't care about us." But in the manga, Winnie does, because she was taken in by Hawthorne's grandfather and protected when she was a young girl by him. And that she sees Hawthorne's grandfather in Hawthorne and thinks he's going to be like a great hero. And like,
Hawthorne's a little outclassed, is all I'm saying in this show.
no, it's really funny because Sumeragi, when talking to Sally, is like, "What are you gonna do? The Onis are attacking the city." And she's like, "Well, can't you call them off?" He's like, "That's out of my control." And Sally's just sitting there.
Miragi's the Aizen guy, right?
Yeah.
Funny.
And Sally's like, "Well, I'm gonna go." And Sumeragi's like, "Well, you better, because your weakest link is fighting the strongest of the Onis here." And like, just flat out calls Hawthorne out on it.
I mean, he knows.
And then he's just like, "But I'm actually not gonna let you leave, so you have to get through me." And Sally's like, "Ha! I can do that. What kind of fight are you gonna put up?" Goes to punch him, and her Oni powers don't activate.
Ooh.
Or her Peach Boy powers don't activate when she goes to hit him. Which is like,
Uh-oh.
you don't really get a lot else with them. And then you have Carrot in the stretchy arm Oni, who's really funny. As like power-wise, like his arms being stretchy is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I like Luffy.
Yeah, I also like Luffy.
And the whole idea is that Carrot approaches him like the dude's just chilling. Like he was told by Todoroki not to kill any of the villagers because they don't care about them. So he's just kind of like, damn, wish I could like kill people. And then Carrot walks up. He's like, hot damn, you're alive. You know, Todoroki's rampaging this town because he's mad that you're dead. And she's like, well, shit, why don't we go stop him? And he looks at her in the eyes and he goes, no, I can't let you do that. In fact,
This is fun.
I'm gonna kill you. And she goes, that doesn't make any sense. And he goes, well, you see, Sumeragi is making a faction of Onis who want peace with the humans. And I don't like that because that's not what we Onis do. And you are one of those who sided with Sumeragi. And she goes, I'm sorry. And he goes, you gotta fucking die. And like the tension in episode 8's really good. It's a shame that I know episode 9's a flashback episode in relation to Makoto's past, which at least seems like it might make sense here since he's in a dream probably. But it's just, it sucks that it's got a space for episode 9. They're gonna go back for episode 10 and do a little more of the fight cleanup, and then episode 11's gonna be the witch episode, and then episode 12 is probably gonna finish the witch episode, and then episode 13, if it goes to 13, it's just gonna close the season somewhere. And it's just like, I just can't imagine. This show's just, it'd be so much better if it was just told in order. It frustrates me so much.
I just got so lost with how
It's
many words you
literally
said
like-
about this show.
It's literally like it sounds like someone right as they were making this show watched Pulp Fiction a few too many times and then went, yeah, I want to do that.
You know what I hate about that, Mason? Is that I wouldn't be surprised if we get an interview with the director of this show and he says that, because too many people in Japan fucking love Tarantino.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Tarantino too, but also there is a very specific way that he does things where it still kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but that's the Peach Boy rant, and that's why I didn't do it earlier, is because it was a lot, and I kind of forgot I watched it until we mentioned it earlier. And that was why I got really mad when you mentioned it earlier, because I thought about the show, I thought about things that pissed me off.
Man, wouldn't it be great if Peach Boy had an anime?
Also, like, the only
True.
way Sally gets out of this thing with Sumeragi is that she taps in and uses her magic. And also, Carrot's kind of using what looks like magic key, which isn't tied to like her eye powers.
Oni
It's,
power.
it's specifically said by the Stretchy Arm Oni that she's not using that. And I don't know if the implication is that she's using magic she's learned in the witch arc or not, because I don't fucking know, because I haven't seen it and haven't read it, and I'm pissed. It's really, I'll see if I can dig up that clip with him with the Stretchy Arm Oni. But
I'm gonna read a lot of fucking Realist Hero and see if they fuck.
yeah, but we're gonna
Oh
be
yeah, I
a
also
week
didn't mention earlier. I have the first volume of the Chainsaw Man manga sitting across the room from
Ooh.
me currently.
It's so good.
Chain Man Saw.
Like, I'm like
Man's got
3/4 the way through the manga, and I am so ready.
I wanna
I can tell you,
go ahead, finish,
I-
Mason.
I was just gonna say, I can tell you right now, Chainsaw Man is going to get probably 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited because, like, I'm just hoping they get to my favorite fight in the entire manga so far, in season 1, and it's probably a good stopping place for season 1 as well. And it's essentially just a building that's a demon. And it goes, haha, I've got you trapped. You'll never get out. And Denji goes, alright, fuck it. Let's just see how much damage I can do to you. And proceeds to just kind of rip and tear through this building, through the heart of this building for like 4 days straight.
Bro,
It's great.
I love the plot of Monster House.
Essentially, yes. Like,
I don't think you said
legitimately,
words.
I don't know. Like, Chainsaw Man is going to be one of those shows where I can guarantee, like, half of the people on the podcast are not going to like it for the first 6 episodes, and then they're going to love it.
I want to hurt you the way that I hurt some of my friends while we were at the musical today, which was my buddy scrolled past a Twitter photo, and it was of Power, And just
Yes.
because I got the very small look at it, I jokingly went, "Yo, is that Darling from Darling in the Franxx?" And they both looked at me like they were going to shoot me. And I went, "You both hate me, but for different reasons." And they go, "No, we hate you for the same reason because of what the character actually is." I turned to my buddy Fen. I went, "Fen, I thought you would hit me because I called her Darling from Darling in the Franxx." He goes, "Oh fuck, her name's not Darling." I went, "Yeah, I can't believe I got you with the classic." My
El
favorite character,
Clasico.
Tora and Dora from Toradora.
My favorite
Hyoka
char-
from Hyoka.
My favorite main character of all
Hori
time
and
video
Miyamura
games.
from Horimiya.
My favorite main character in any video game, Zelda.
Yeah.
You know, the one with the sword.
God, I actually, as a kid, thought that what it was forever because I didn't play those games until I was like 10 or 15. And
That's
someone's
how
like, no, no.
That's how they get you. No. But I look forward not only to next season, but for 2 weeks from now where we are back and we get to talk
Oh,
finale.
sad.
So
Yeah.
Sad.
maybe we'll
2
do
weeks.
maybe we'll do a fun stream next week.
I
in
could die at
place
Renegade
of-
Platinum next week.
You
I
die
can-
Renegade Platinum tonight.
I can talk
It is
about
250.
I know.
It's gonna take me a while to get going again in that. I'm gonna cheat and use rare candies at the start again.
I
because,
was
man, that
so
slow as hell.
surprised you weren't going to, but I also could see the argument that you want
I was
the
going
EV, you want
to,
the
but I wanted to
EVs.
wait a little bit. I wanted to wait
know.
a little bit. Well, actually, in that game they have EV training as well.
Oh, yeah,
There's
you
a
don't care.
person and by like Salacy in town, but like,
Gotta get
I
there.
kind of wanted just like to just do the default early game because it's really fast with like some of the changes I have as a speed up mod and everything. But yeah, no, we're gonna set hard level caps at the gym leaders, not the bosses, because I don't hate myself. It's not gonna make it any easier because, by the way, Cyrus in the Death Realm is one of the hardest fights in the game. Not
Yeah.
because of Cyrus, but because you also fight Cyrus, who has two level 80 Dialga and Palkia that he summons
Mhm.
out in a double battle, and then you fight Cyrus after you kill those.
Yep.
Okay. So looking at
And
that
level
picture
cap
you said,
62.
My favorite, the important part of this picture is that Kobeni's car is more popular than Kobeni. That is the
Yes.
important part of this picture.
yes, I know.
This
I'm
is also a very early popularity poll.
yes. So like there's a long arc about Kobeni's car. And it's kind of fucking amazing.
They're saying words.
Either way, gang, we will see you all in due time. You'll see me tomorrow night when we do. Well, maybe you'll see me. Hopefully, you'll see me
Probably.
tomorrow when we do the other side of the podcast.
Oh boy.
You might not strangle someone this week.
Maybe. Hopefully.
We don't know.
We're gonna be shooting either probably Battle Game or Peach Boy. That's right, guys. We're going back to episode 1 of this podcast, but for episode 6 of the other one, we finally come full
God.
circle. We'll probably be a wheel spin for fucking Peach Boy or Battle Game.
Bring on
That's so funny to me.
Yet again, another wheel for the same 2 shows.
Yet
but
again,
5
I am
episodes
forced to
apart.
shoot one of my children, and I have no regrets.
Yeah.
I once again must shoot my children. Pog.